Sergeant Maverick, the podcast, episode 3. Our Super Mario brother and Princess Peach of the Mushroom Kingdom.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Sergeant Maverick, the podcast, where we talk about all things police work, politics, and life. I'm your host, Sergeant Maverick. Today, what we're going to talk about is, of course, police work, but we're going to start the first of our family segments. And my guests today are retired Miami-Dade officer Mario Gutierrez, a colleague of mine, and his wife, Laura. So welcome, and thank you for doing this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What I've seen out there is no one is talking about how the family comes into play with a police officer, a firefighter, or someone in the military. So I want to get that perspective for us and for you that view podcasts. So we're going to be talking to Laura quite a bit today about her experience of being married to a cop and what she's gone through in her life, as most spouses do. We know that in police work it's very male dominated, so it's usually wives that we're talking about, but there are female spouses of male spouses of female officers that impacts them the same or could impact them the same. So we're going to be getting into that. One of the things we're going to be talking about is my book, The Real Greatest Show on Earth, which is an unfiltered look at policing in America. For cops, you'll relate because I'm telling our story. This isn't just my story, it's our story collectively. But for those of you not in law enforcement, I think you'll get a real insight to what policing is really like in America. Not the stuff you see on TV, not the things you see in the news, but what it's like from the perspective of cops that have done the job. It's completely unfiltered, the good, the bad, and the ugly of what we do. So if you really want to learn who we are, how we function, why we do the things we do me a favor, please pick up a copy of my book. You can get it on Amazon, you can get ebook, wherever you get your books. Part of the reason I mention it is that I have not only just told my stories in the book. In the book is stories from other cops, my colleagues, my family, my friends. And I did that so when you're reading my stories, you'll hear their stories or read their stories, and you'll see that I am not unique in the profession. These things happen to all of us. So the contributors to my book are guests on the podcast, in addition to others, the family members, and we're going to have my kids on at some point to throw me under the bus and talk about what it was like to have dad as a cop. And we're going to do firefighter segments as well, our colleagues in the fire service, and poke a little fun at each other while we talk about the similarities and differences in our jobs. But Mario was gracious enough to lend me his story, which is called The Incident. And what I did was, with all the stories that I was given, I gave them all titles if they didn't already have a specific title for their story. So Mario's story I titled War Story of All War Stories. And if that feels like it has an impact, it's supposed to. And when we start getting into it, you'll understand why. So Mario, Laura, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you being here. Mario and I never worked in the same district together over the years, but we knew of each other. As we know, as you become veterans, oh yeah, I know him over there, and then passing. Until I transferred to Miami International Airport in 2017, and then we finally got a chance to work together a little bit.
Right.
But I was well aware of you and your incident. So before we get into that, we'll get into a little background. I like to humanize my guests, the cops, because we don't really get to see that. We're always on all the podcasts is always about kicking ass and taking names all the time, and they don't really get to see who we are as people. So Laura, I want to start with you.
Okay.
You're from Cuba originally,
Yes.
Okay? And you came in '62. What, besides the obvious, or just tell us, why did your family come to the States or to Miami?
Yeah, we were blessed. I mean, I was 9 months old when my family came here, and we got out on one of the last airplanes before the airport was shut down. So obviously my father had been listening to the airwaves. He saw that communism was there. He saw right through Fidel Castro, and he wanted something better for us. So they took the risk and came to a country that gave us the opportunity to enter. to give us a better life, because he didn't know what was here, but he knew it had to be better than what was coming in Cuba. So I was 9 months old when we moved here. I was raised in Miami, and I'm youngest of 4. And I love this country because it gave us an opportunity of freedom, and that's how it was presented to us, drilled into us since we were kids. This is a opportunity. This is a privilege. Don't ever take advantage of it. So we're very grateful to be here.
So to skirt the political issue a little bit, we're going to go out on a limb here and say that socialism doesn't really work, does it?
No, not
Your
at all.
parents saw it right off the
They
bat.
saw it, and thank God that they did,
Yeah,
because we were spared from all of it.
right.
Yeah.
Your story.
I was born in Cuba in 1958, right before Fidel took over. My dad, excuse me, my dad was a policeman in Cuba. He worked for Batista.
Fui policía en Cuba.
Yeah, that's my dad. He was a young man, you know, so when Fidel took over, obviously he saw the writing on the wall and he needed to get out of there. So he left first. Came over to Miami, worked in a factory, did not speak a lick of English. I look at it as, like, for example, something happened in America and we all had to leave and we go to Japan and none of us can speak Japanese and we need to function there and live there. That's the same thing that happened to him. He came here and he needed to survive and bring us over. So he got a job, got a place to live, and then my mom was pregnant when he left, so she had my brother while he wasn't there. You know, while my father was here, so he never got to see my brother until we came over, and my brother was like about 7 or 8 months old when he got to meet him. So we lived in Miami for a short while till I was about 3 or 4, and then we moved to New Jersey. And in New Jersey is where I learned how to speak English.
Where in New Jersey?
Weehawken. I was in Weehawken. And there we lived in a building, a 5-story building. That same block, on the other end of the block, we lived up Park Avenue. On the other end of the block was the school that I went to. It was Roosevelt, school number 5, I think it was. And just north of that block was a firehouse in this building. And they're unique because kids can go there and hang out, and they allow it. And I remember the ladder truck had that steering wheel in the back, and I was fascinated with that. I want to be one of those guys. I want to drive that thing, you know, in the back. So as a kid, I was always fascinated with firemen and police. And I remember the cops walking the beat in my neighborhood, and since I was little, I just wanted to be a policeman. That's all I ever wanted to do. And by the time I was 10, we left New Jersey. My mom didn't like New Jersey. From the moment she got there, she hated it. So my dad worked hard to save enough money, and it took a while to be able to bring us back to Miami. And we got back to Miami, and we've been here ever since. So, and I graduated from Carroll City Senior High back in '76. And, you know, it took a while for me to become a policeman because I wasn't a U.S. citizen.
Right.
And I didn't become a U.S. citizen until I became an adult, and I had control of my own life. So I made my application. I did everything I had to do. The day I got sworn in at the Miami, not the arena, Miami auditorium, I swore in. I got my certificate. I left that auditorium. I went down to 27th Avenue, which was a few blocks away, and they had a substation there. They had a sergeant reading a newspaper with his feet up on the desk. I walk in, and I said, "Where do I sign up?" I got all my paperwork. My thing was still warm in my hand, right? So I signed. He would look. He went, put the paper down. Had to get the stuff for me. I filled everything out, turned it in. He made copies of everything. Sure enough, the process started. I got caught in the hiring freeze for 3 years. I was desperate to get on the department, and I kept checking. Back then, there was no email. It was everything was hard letters. So I kept checking the mail like an obsession for 3 freaking years, waiting for that acceptance letter. I made it in the beginning all the way up to my first psych test. I took it, and then I got that hiring freeze. So when I went back after 3 years, I had to take the psych test again. And then, you know, the process started, and I ended up getting hired. To me, it was like winning the lottery. It was the happiest day of my life. I said I got a job with a future, with a career, with a pension. If I make it long enough, you know, it's going to be perfect. So I ended up, you know, getting my equipment. I had a big smile on my face. They said, "Man, you look happy." And I go, and I was ecstatic. They gave me a little bag with 18 rounds of 38 ammunition, and I looked at it and I go, "Are you kidding me? This is all I get?" You know? So, and they gave me a revolver, and I remember that revolver. I'm a gun guy, okay? And they told us the first thing, Fiscaletti, who handed the revolvers out, said, "Do not take these things apart." Adamant about that. I got home, I took it apart. Because I'm a gun guy, I was able to take the whole gun apart, and I worked on it. I worked on the inside of it. I, you know, not altered it, but I polished it up.
Right.
Cleaned it, and I boiled it. I boiled it, the stainless steel, so I boiled it in boiling ivory soap. I put it in there, and I boiled the whole thing, cleaned it up. Took about 20 minutes to get it looking brand spanking new. Put it back together. Had inspection. I'm holding it. The guy looks at it and he goes, "Trainee, how long did it take you to clean this?" I go, 4 hours, sir. It was 20 minutes. He goes, "Outstanding," and he hands it back to me. He had no idea, you know, what I had done. So now we go to shoot, and my instructor he's checking all the guns out first, so he shoots them. And when he shoots mine, he hands it back to me. He goes, "Man, you got a good one here. You're lucky." He had no idea that I had worked on it. You know, it was a smooth, buttery trigger.
What year was that?
1992.
So, mine and Carlos's class, your predecessor on the podcast, well, he got his gun from Miami Beach since he was a cadet for the beach. We were the first class to get the Rugers. Was that one of the Rugers?
No, I had a Smith & Wesson.
Okay.
Smith &
The
Wesson.
Rugers, stainless steel, right? Okay. Well-made weapon, but the tolerances were a lot closer than the old Smiths, and with the reloads, and when it expanded, we were online, you know,
Alibis,
jam the whole time,
Yeah, yeah,
right? But
yeah.
none of us really had that expertise, except you know the guy, Jerry Davenport.
Yeah, I know Davenport.
Right.
Yeah. And I know
so,
him. Yeah.
So he could do what you did.
Yeah.
We had no idea. It was the first time we're shooting guns.
I had to teach a lot of the different trainees. They would come to my house. I had to teach them how to clean the guns. I showed them little techniques and stuff. I showed them how to, you know, where to buy the equipment because they didn't have a clue. I took them, said, you need this, stay away from this. So I'm the gun guy, and I knew my stuff, and I never had a problem with my qualifying. Was not an issue for me. I breezed through that whole thing. And in fact, the instructor goes, "There's nothing I can teach you."
So you were your class's tackleberry.
Yeah, that was me. That was me. I'm the gun guy. I build my own guns, my own rifles and
Still
stuff.
is.
I still do.
Okay.
They're machines, and I'm
Yeah.
fascinated. I'm very good with machines, and guns to me, it's like breathing. I'm very natural with them.
Laura, all right, so how was your upbringing now that you're in Miami?
Upbringing, what do you mean? How?
You're grown up.
We grew up in Carroll City. I mean, my parents were, you know, hardworking people. My mom stayed home and raised us. So my dad worked in a boat factory. He was a foreman. We didn't see him much because he worked so much. So when he was home, it was always, you know, a blessing to have him with
Right.
us. And we'd wake him up and play with him and spend time with him because Dad worked. We'd get up and he'd be gone. Sometimes we went to bed. He wasn't back from work yet. So we were raised there. I graduated from American Senior High. I'm a patriot, not a chief, like Mario. A lot of rivalry there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have two older sisters and an older brother. And my parents had that house till my mom was almost in her 70s. We lived in the same home, you know, it's one of those communities where it is a village.
Right.
And you knew all your neighbors, and all your neighbors knew you and all the kids. Then you could walk to school and play outside, and it was safe. And we had a good upbringing and very humble, and we lacked for nothing.
Right. You had everything you needed.
Definitely, yeah.
There's other things we wanted, but we had
Yeah.
everything we needed, right? Like the Rolling Stones song. So, what did you decide to do after you graduated? You know, what's your profession? We know what his is, obviously.
When I got out of high school, I got into restaurant management. I started with Burger King at 16 years old. I was with them for over 10 years, and I, you know, moved up in rank, so got a lot of experience there. I translated from the restaurant business into healthcare, and I've been in healthcare ever since.
Okay. From your bios, it says you're both married twice.
Correct.
Okay. So, obviously, this is the second marriage. Okay. Are all your kids together or from any previous?
We're a blended family.
Yeah, we're out.
We came together, and I had my daughter, and he had his 2 sons.
Okay. So now, how did you meet? You don't get to say something. She gets to tell us.
We actually met Mario at work. I don't date patients and I don't date cops, but I broke every rule when he asked me out. So he's very shy, very quiet, and that's very rare.
Was this at a hospital?
In a doctor's office.
Doctor's
yes. And you
So
know,
how did you were a patient at the doctor's
Yeah.
office?
yes.
So patient and cop broke all the golden
Yes.
rules, right?
Yes.
All right.
And he's a nice guy. Didn't think anything of it. A great patient. Great to see. And one day he called me up and asked me out. And to my surprise, my answer came out, and it was, you know what? I'd love to.
That's
And
what she said.
after I said that, I'm like, okay, now I need to get out of this. What am I going to say to get out of this? I just committed to having lunch with him. Like, all right, let's see it through. And I was nervous. He was nervous. We sat down, and it just clicked from the beginning. We just started talking and sharing. We had so many similarities in our background, our morals.
No, and the thing is, we lived near each other.
Oh, we grew up blocks from each other.
blocks from each other. We had no idea.
Yeah, we started talking.
Yeah.
It's funny because our brothers, I went to school with his brother, he went to school with my brother, and we remembered each other. We literally grew up 5 or 6 blocks away from each other
Yeah.
and never met
Never met.
until it was the right time to meet.
So obviously, you were not going to your psychologist at that point.
Right. Yeah.
See, we were all tested beforehand. So if we became crazy, it was the job, right? I always like to say, like on the Big Bang Theory, right, where Sheldon would say, "I'm not crazy. My mother had me tested." Right. Well, we were tested beforehand, so we can't.
I got tested twice.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, we've been tested a
And he
few times
passed.
since, right?
He passed twice.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Okay. So, you're dating, he's a cop, and how did you feel about that specifically?
I saw the kind of officer that he was and how serious he took his job. And Mario has always taken his training very serious. And he took a lot of, it's pride, but also a joy in it. And I could see it. So, was I concerned about him? Yes. But we always talked about the elephant in the room, even when we dated before we got married. It wasn't one of those things that you couldn't talk about, the fact that maybe one day he might not make it home or the things that he faces. He always shared those with me. And I appreciate that because it helped me understand what he went through.
Right.
And even though it isn't even close to what it is like what you guys experienced out there, he let me into that world so I could have more compassion, understanding, and know how to help him navigate those waters and help keep him even keel and how to kind of de-stress once he got home.
I never went into details with a lot of the violent stuff.
We
that
don't-
I've had.
we don't
I
say
I don't-
everything.
Yeah, I don't tell her
Yeah.
everything because it's
Yeah.
pretty violent. I just touch on certain things so she would understand some of the things I was going through. But
And he knows I'm very
and to
sensitive.
this day, I still
Yeah.
don't share it with her.
But the questions arise when you come home and you've got that laceration on your arm or your face or that bruise and like, oh, what happened?
Yeah.
And then, to protect you, a lot of times we'll go, well, this guy just struggled a little bit. When it was an all-out, knockdown, drag-out fight,
Yeah.
but we don't always say so. How long you been married now?
Almost 26 years.
Congrats.
Yeah, thank you.
So, all that time, married to a cop, there's the ups and the downs, right?
Mhm.
And then, because the job can affect us in so many different ways and our moods and everything, if something happened or administrative headache at work, because the police department is a lot of times like a lion that sometimes eats its young. We have those headaches to deal with. The analogy I want to use, and for those, if you've seen the commercials, New Day USA, where it's they do loans for naval personnel, and the admiral who's the head of it says that the toughest job in the Navy is being a Navy wife. And I will give them that because of the long deployments. And the spouse, whether it's wife or a male spouse, right? And the other spouse is on deployment for 3, 6, 7, 8, 9 months, you know, and then they get extended when they're supposed to be coming home. And I know it's tough. But when they're home, they're together, they're working off the base, they're probably close to each other, the family lives on or near base, and they have that time together. What we have as cops is that, you know, we don't get deployed, we don't get sent overseas, but we do go out that door every single day.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember one time at the National Law Enforcement Memorial at Tropical Park over here, the keynote speaker was the commanding general, Southern Command here in Doral, one time, and he was talking about his career, 4-star general, and the various deployments he had. But he said, I got deployed 5 times during my career into a theater of war, and then I came home. But a cop goes out every single day. So during that time, how was it for you as the spouse, the wife, when he walked out the door?
Yeah, it's a challenge on many levels, and I think just as he had a calling to be a police officer, I had a calling to be a law enforcement wife, because it's a lot to process. You know it's there, and we talked about it often, and he would tell me, if anything ever happens to me, I want you to know something. I'm going to fight with every inch of my life to make it home to you. If I don't make it home, you know that I gave it everything.
How long ago did he tell you that?
He told me that from the day we got married. He prepared me. He goes, if anything ever happens to me, you're going to get a phone call. They will send an officer to come pick you up, and they'll bring you to me. Just go with them. They'll take care of you. But know that I will fight with everything that I have. And every time we saw something unfold in the media where a law enforcement officer lost his life, he would have that conversation with me. So the Miami-Dade Police Department put an incredible amount of training into him for 27 years, but he poured a lot of training into me, preparing me as his wife. You have to be careful, because sometimes you can lose sight of the fact. You can get involved in the day-to-day, like you didn't take out the garbage again, and leave mad over garbage and realize, what was I thinking? You know, he's going to go out there and face God knows what.
Yeah.
And I got to let him leave in peace and know that
We tend to sweat the small stuff sometimes.
too much. And it's something that honestly we don't have the luxury to do, because you just don't know any more than the day of the incident.
Yeah.
I knew. So you have to balance it. We never had the same schedule. So time off was, you know, a premium. We made the best of it. You know, he always say, hey, when I'm home, you're not going to cook. We're going to go to dinner. We're going to spend some time together. So you can just relax and we can have conversation.
Right.
We were always very intentional about that, because if not, you lose track of it. Working different schedules. Mario was in a specialized unit a lot as a motor officer. Sometimes he'd leave at 2 in the morning. I wouldn't see him till the next day. It just depended on what was going on. So it's hurricanes, off for Bravo shifts. See you later. I don't know when
See
you'll
you
be home.
whenever.
Yeah.
See you whenever.
He'll put up my shutters, get me set up at home, and take off. And I'm good. I got this. Go do what you got to do. So you know you're going to weather those storms alone, because he's got to be out there. And he would laugh. He would say, hey, anything happens, call 911. They'll send a cop. It won't be me, but they'll send somebody.
Right.
So those are the things that you have to kind of balance, you know, as a law enforcement wife. What was always painful to me was the remarks that people make about officers. Because personally, not only was I married to one that was an excellent officer, I had the utmost respect always growing up for law enforcement. So when you talk about, you know, in negative context and put everybody together, oh, they're all crooked, they're all this, it hurt my feelings. And I would stay quiet, because I know. But people make a lot of comments that are very hurtful.
Yeah.
Tell
And-
them the reaction you see of people when we would walk into a restaurant. I was
wow.
in uniform.
Yeah.
She made that comment.
Yeah,
to
if
me.
you were he was working, and he would say, hey, meet me for lunch, and I was able to get away. I would like, why does everybody look at you that way? You get the dirtiest looks when you walk in your uniform. Well, I see an officer or a firefighter, and I'm like, oh, wow, thank God they're here. He gave me a police hat, and I used to wear it to the gym, and I started getting dirty looks. I'm like, maybe I shouldn't wear this hat. Not
You kinda
everybody
like a
feels
MAGA
the
hat
same.
now?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, I had a motorman hat, and all of a sudden I started getting these dirty looks. I'm like, why? So, you know, that's hard.
Yeah.
That's hard on a family member when you know what they're putting out there, and that You may criticize them because they gave you a ticket, but if somebody's breaking into your house at night, you're going to pray that officer comes through that door.
It's the same old story. A lot of folks despise us until they need us, right? Because when they call 911, it's not a social worker that's showing up,
Right.
although they're trying to do that in New York City now.
Yeah.
Once again, I love politics,
about
you know,
that.
and we're always going to kind of go that way. But even the bad guys against other bad guys will call 911 for us to go and intervene. So, yes, you may criticize us, but you all need us. Just imagine for a second life in the United States without the police for just one weekend.
It would be like the Wild Wild West, yeah.
Well, the social experiment I write about in my book, and during the disband, defund police movement that started in 20 after the Floyd disaster, and all the 574 peaceful protests, which we know there were not, right?
The Summer of Love, yes.
Yeah, the Summer of Love. Every Friday night, or one Friday night, and let's take this coming Friday night, for example, at 6 p.m., every cop and corrections officer in America goes home for the weekend. He doesn't come back till Monday morning at 6. It is the Purge movies times 100, right? Right? And then it's over. So they need us. I am going to say, and I wholeheartedly believe this, it's a vocal minority, you can say leftist, but you also have people that are not really on the left that don't really understand what we do.
Yeah.
And then they criticize us because they don't know. But the majority of the people in this country like and appreciate law enforcement because we're the ones that keep the wolves at bay, the sheepdogs.
We're the sheepdogs,
right?
yeah.
So I don't, when I hear, and you see the stuff on TV, the microphone for the media is, tell us about how you hate the police or what
Right.
they did to you, right? And this is a small, smattering of what it's really like. People support us, and they kind of do this. I want you to take care of that bad guy, but I don't want to see it. Just keep him away. Keep him away from me or my house, my family, whatever, but I don't want to see it because no one likes to see the sausage get made.
Correct.
And one of the things that society needs to understand is that swans don't swim in sewers, and we have to go in the sewer. We're the ones that have to get dirty. And we do it gladly. We chose this profession. So
Yes.
I know for you to hear those things over the course of time, it's been hurtful. But also in that same restaurant, there are people in there that are looking at him and going, I'm glad he's here.
Oh,
They
and
just
he-
don't say anything.
And he got an incredible amount of support from
Yeah.
the media, from the community, from the department, from everyone
Right.
when the incident occurred. But it is very hard to send them out there in that climate that for a long time was very anti-police.
The ebbs and flows
Yeah,
of our lives as cops in America with the news.
that's just part of it.
Yeah. The two sayings that are used a lot in the media are, if it bleeds, it leads, and if it burns, it earns. Because the news wants to show the chaos. They want to show the bad
Yeah.
cops or whatever. But now with social media, we also see the more of the cops lending a hand and helping an elderly person across the street. Or just recently on Instagram, I saw the cops arrested a pizza delivery guy, put him in the back seat, and then delivered the pizza to the guy he was going to, right?
Yeah.
You know,
I saw
so, but before social media, you can get to see that stuff.
Right.
Nobody knows all the other things we do. They get
Yeah.
the cat out of the tree.
Yeah.
Not just the firefighters, but the cops do that too. Or the kitten out of the sewer, or puppy.
Or a cop helping a guy who's trying to get a job, fixing his tie, getting his tie, so he can make the interview,
Right.
Because the guy
Yeah.
didn't know how to tie his tie.
So, yes, we all had to go through that. Our families had to experience that.
It's
But
part of the experience.
yeah, but obviously, 26 years, you've supported him, the good, the bad, and the ugly,
Yeah.
and everything that comes with it. Not just police, but a marriage. Relationships are tough. You got to work at them. So, I applaud you, for putting up with him.
It's
because
my honor.
we're not easy to swallow sometimes. We have that double-edged sword to us because we have to. We have to have that. We got to put that game face on when we walk out the door, and be that sheepdog, which is part sheep and part wolf.
Yeah.
in order to fight the bad guys, to deal with that.
Yeah, that fine edge.
Yeah,
I
it
would
is.
see the change. He would be having a tea party with our granddaughter at the bottom of the stairs and say, okay, now it's time to get ready for work. He'd head upstairs and he'd come down in uniform. The minute he hit the top of the stairs and he's coming down in uniform, it's a different persona.
Yeah.
It was a serious countenance. It was game on. And he
Has to be.
I had to
as he's
switch
putting
my
together
mindset.
that uniform
Yeah.
and he's putting it on, he's getting ready for his day.
As soon as we walk out that door, we're a target.
Mm-hmm.
Because we get to dress, unlike some of the northern police departments like NYPD,
Right.
where you have to go to work in civilian clothes and dress at the station and then redress to go home. Here, almost, I guess every police department in Florida and many around the country,
Yeah.
you get to, and we have the privilege of having take-home patrol
Correct.
cars.
Correct.
You know, ever since we started that back in fully '92 for us. As soon as you walk out the door, you're a target, but your green and white is parked, or your blue and white in the case of Carlos, you know, in Miami Beach and all that, in the city of Miami. You're always a target because your car's parked out there.
I don't think I've told you, but I've been a target because of the car's been parked there.
Yeah.
It was set on fire in front of my house. When I lived on the north end of Dade County. At 5:30 in the morning, somebody poured gasoline on it and it lit it. And I hear the tire explode, and I don't go out the front door. I go to my second floor and I look out the window with my rifle. And I'm thinking, this is an ambush. I'm going to go out and I'm going to get ambushed. I'm going to be ready. So I don't see anything. I get on my radio and I call, you know, the dispatcher and send fire out. What I didn't know was at the entrance, because I lived in a circular neighborhood with one entrance and one exit. I did that on purpose. So at the entrance, there was a Hallandale police car, and that was on fire. So when the fire unit arrived, saw the police car on fire, oh, this is it, and started putting out, ignoring where I was. They didn't check the address. So I'm on the radio, they're not here. So the lieutenant went through the neighborhood, went back there, saw the unit on fire, radioed for another engine. When they arrived, my Mustang was getting the whole front fender on fire, and I'm afraid my house was going to go on fire. So now they're putting it out, and so, you know, here I am, my driveway's all melted, everything, you know, the police car is melted to the ground, and media's in front of my house.
Didn't take them long, did it?
Right, they're out there, and they knew, because this happened after my incident, so they knew who I was, and they wanted me to come out, and I'm like, I'm not going out there to talk to you. I'm not doing it. This is my home,
Yeah.
you know? So one of them, after all the police personnel left, after several hours, one of them knocked on my door, wanted an interview. I said, I'm not talking to you. I closed the door, and I called PIO. I said, you guys need to talk to this guy. I don't want to be harassed in my own home. So they said, we'll take care of it. And then they parked a couple of units out in the coastal district. The major put a couple of units out in my neighborhood. I didn't want that, because I didn't want those guys being bored out there. But she says, it's happening. So, you know, I didn't have a choice in it. I just felt uncomfortable.
Simon Placencia.
Yeah.
She was my major.
Yeah, I had a problem with that, because I don't like, I can take care of myself. I don't need a
Well, you
unit
didn't want to
babysit.
burden your colleagues.
Yeah, I didn't want to do that. And I'm heavily armed, so I can take care of myself. Trust me. So, but I felt bad. These guys, I went out to talk to them. They go, no, it's okay. I go, I know it's boring. It's a boring job. You have to sit here and babysit me. And
Yeah.
that bothered me.
But some of them probably didn't mind because they
They
weren't on
didn't.
patrol.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she took care of us. That's what she was
Yeah,
trying
that's-
to do.
and I understood
But that's
that.
what we're supposed to do.
Yeah,
understand.
she
Supposed
took
to take care of
us.
each
I'm
other.
very grateful.
But I can
Yeah.
handle my own problems.
Yeah.
And it's important that our commanders do that. In 2012, I suffered a blood clot in my leg. I had to go into the hospital, obviously. Well, Assistant Director Urchid and Major Jeter, my major at the time, came to see me in the hospital. I was like, wow, you know, and it was nice. It was nice that they were there, right? So Major Placencia had, I know since I worked for her, I know the kind of person she is, and she, out of the goodness of her heart, of course, but also it's an obligation to us to take care of each other. So I know the personality, you can take care
Yeah.
of yourself.
Right, I can handle it.
But you can't take care of yourself when you're sleeping, because that's the only time we're in green mode, right? Is when we're asleep. Otherwise, we're in yellow, orange, and red,
Right.
We're always somewhere in there. If we're awake, we're at the very least yellow. On the tennis court, I'm still in yellow,
Right.
And the gun is with me.
Of course,
Right.
of
So,
course.
and you're a gun guy, so you
Yeah,
probably,
I'm
you know,
always
you
armed,
probably
yeah.
have a lot of guns
Yeah,
around
yeah.
you. All right. Thank you, because that's important. Everything that you said is important. Nobody really understands that side,
Yeah.
because it's not talked about. You know, and I wanted to get to that. You had many assignments during your career, but I want to focus on motors. When did you go to the motor unit? And we're talking about not only being a cop being dangerous, he goes to motors.
On two wheels.
I wanted to go to motors since I was in the academy. When Bucky Green came to give us instruction, and I
Right.
saw the motor, I'm like, this is what I want to do. I had no idea how long it was going to take me because it's such a small unit.
Right.
It took me 12 years to get to the unit. And I only got it because a sergeant that was a friend of mine got to the unit, and he knew the kind of work product that I would put out. He wanted a guy like me in that unit. So he says, would you like to come over? I go, yes, I want to come over. You know, so, but I didn't know how to ride a motorcycle. I had never been on a motorcycle in my life. So they go, okay, we're going to have a pre-test. So some of the guys that were in the unit that knew me would meet me over at Reynolds, and in the parking lot, I would ride the bike. I would put on my ride helmet, ride the bike, and just shift gears and just get familiar with it. And so at least I knew how to handle the riding part of it. I knew how to shift.
Did you
So-
ride a motorcycle before that?
Never, never, or just bicycles. So, but I am mechanical. I understand the mechanics, and I know how to shift a car. So, once you explained it to me, I understood it. So I was able to ride it. I didn't have a problem with it. I just couldn't ride it like a motorman.
Right.
So they went to the pre-test, and in the pre-test, yes, I wasn't doing everything right. I wasn't, but they saw the potential. They saw, okay, we can teach this guy. So they approved me to go to the motor school.
Right.
I didn't know it, but they have a high attrition rate of people leaving the unit because
It's
the
very
school
hard.
because it's very hard.
For those of you that don't know, you see motorcycle cops everywhere, right? You see them on parades, leading the president, funerals, and all that. What you don't see is the amount of training that they have to go through. And with most departments like ours, Miami-Dade, they have to qualify every single month in order to keep
Correct.
riding that motorcycle.
Correct.
It is very difficult because you have to learn skills that the average motorcycle rider doesn't have and never learns.
And they're diminishing skills. If you don't practice,
Exactly.
they diminish. So I'm not a natural writer. I have to work at it. I have to work hard at it to maintain that proficiency. I saw guys in that unit that were born to ride motorcycles. It came easy to them. Unfortunately, I wasn't one of those. I had to work hard. But I wanted to be a motorman. So I worked my butt off those 2 weeks, and I dropped that bike 10,000 times. And I picked it up, and it kept going. I was too stubborn to give up.
Yep.
Okay? And I kept doing it. And then when the test came, believe it or not, that day, I didn't qualify. I did not qualify. I was devastated because I would not qualify for little things. One too many cones or one too many foot put down. I just couldn't put it together. But they saw the potential, and they said, listen, take the weekend, come back Monday, warm up, and we'll take the test again because you're almost there. They were willing to do that for me.
Yeah.
So sure enough, I got there in the morning, warmed up. When the instructors came out, they said, all right, let's do the 3 runs. So I did the first one, no problem. Did the second one, no problem. And I did the third one, no problem. It says, hey, head over to the station, go pick up your certificate. You're qualified. So I did. I got my certificate, and about 2 months later, I got to the unit. But I got to the unit because I had to make a phone call because the captain of the district, Intercoastal, did not want to let me go because I was an FTO. So I've been there for 12 years. So an operational necessity is what he said. So I had to make a phone call, and actually the lieutenant of motors was the one that said, yeah, I want him over here. So strings were pulled, and I got to the unit. And I was there for almost my whole time. I was in that countywide, and then I went to the airport unit. But I'll get into that later.
So we're going to take a break here in a second, but not only is he a cop, he's going to motors now. How did you feel about that?
He's going to motors and he's never rode a motorcycle. I'm like, okay, this gets really, really tricky here. But his passion was there. He had always shared with me how he saw those motormen at the academy.
Yeah.
And how it was something that always fascinated him and always would love to do that, but never dreamed that it would be possible. So when that opportunity presented itself, it's like, he knows I've never stopped him in any decision he's made in his career. I let him follow his heart. And if that's where you're being led, then I'm there with you. And if it weren't for the strong faith that I have, my faith in God, and knowing that he's called to do what he does, and there's somebody out there watching for him, that's watching over him, I probably wouldn't be able to do that because I know a lot of wives can't. Or
Right.
if it weren't for that, I don't think I could either. But I supported him 100%. I saw how devastated he was when he didn't pass. Then go back in there. Rest the weekend. You can do this. There's nothing you can't do if you
Stew
apply
on
yourself.
it over the weekend.
Yeah, you know. But I supported him 100%. I knew the dangers involved.
Yeah.
That it just took it to a higher level. He went down on the motorcycle many times.
I was yes or no answer. During the job, you've gone down on the bike?
Yes.
Okay, because every guy does.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was asked to go to the motor unit a bunch of years ago. So unlike you guys in the motor unit that ride Harleys, I ride a Honda Goldwing. Best motorcycle on the planet. I didn't want to turn my love for riding into a job. I just didn't want to do it. I wanted to be able to, like my son now, you know, he's following in dad's footsteps. He became a cop, he's a sergeant, and he got his own motorcycle, so we get to ride together, which is a pleasure for me that I get to do that with him and some of the other guys. But I wanted to remain pure for me. I didn't want it to be work because I know how much work it is and how hot it is out there
Yeah.
in the summer, especially in South Florida, to have to do that. So for me, it was, no, thank you, appreciate it, but I'm gonna stay here.
I get it.
Now, before we take the break, one of the running jokes with motormen is, you know, the motormen wear the pen in the boot, right? So I actually have another friend of mine who was a motorman. He would say, I'd ride up next to the violator and take out my pen and give him the ticket book and my pen and go, you write what I say. Did you ever do that?
No, but yeah, that's funny. That's funny. I, you know, the thing with the bike, the way I used the bike, and I used it a couple of times like that, I would have some guy in a crotch rocket take off him. You know, I can't catch him on a
No.
Harley, but my hope was if I keep him in sight, traffic will catch him for me.
Right.
Sure enough, those couple of times, traffic slowed him down enough where I was able to pull up next to him, step off the bike, and drop the bike on him, knock him over. Now I got him.
Right.
Because he's not going to get 900 pounds off him. So I did that a couple of times. That wasn't taught. That's something I did on my own. I just easily step off the
Well,
bike.
instinct,
Yeah, just
you
step
know.
off the bike. Let the bike land on him. It's a county bike. I don't care.
They're going to fix it. They're going to
Yeah,
give you another
that's
one.
it.
And if you do it 10 times consecutively, you're going back to patrol.
Yeah.
Right.
But, you know, little things like that in order to catch the perpetrator. You know,
Right.
so.
Okay. With that, we're going to take a hard break here, and then we're going to come back and we're going to get into the incident. So stay with us. Welcome back. We're going to get into the incident. Before, let me do a little commercialization here. If you like what you're seeing, please hit the like and subscribe button. You'll help me out greatly with this because this is the game. And I need your help with views and subscriptions and all that BS that you see going on with this type of stuff. Other than that, really enjoying doing this with my colleagues and friends and upcoming family episodes. So we're going to continue with Officer Mario Gutierrez and his wife Laura with our first family segment. We're going to get into the incident now, his story that he contributed to my book. But before we do that, during our break, tell us about the Valentine's gift.
I was sharing that 1 year for Valentine's Day, he brings me this box all wrapped up, and I open it up, and it's an AR-15 rifle that he built. It was a clone from a Vietnam
It's a
rifle.
model 601.
Yes, that he built for me. I was very proud of it. So my mother calls me up. I'm wishing her a happy Mother's Day, and she tells me, "Oh, so what did Mario get you for Valentine's Day? He's always so sweet and generous." So I said, "Well, Mima, he got me a rifle." And her response was,
¿Qué?
she was like, "He's lost his mind now."
Yeah, but she would go to the range with me and shoot.
Yep,
She's,
great rifle.
She's a great shot.
You are Tackleberry.
He is.
I wear that badge honorably. Yeah.
Every academy class has one, and you were it, and you continue throughout your career.
I love to do that. Yeah.
Okay, well, as long as you were good with it, you know.
Still have it.
All right. Does he ever give you flowers?
Yes, he does.
Okay, all right. You got to do that every once in a while,
course.
right? Okay, so we've reached the incident.
The incident.
We're going to talk about that. As many of you know, and for some of those that don't, police work is very dangerous at times. Sometimes it's absolutely boring, and we're in this car writing reports and dealing with all that. But we can go from 0 to 100 in literally a couple of seconds, and that's what happened to you on this particular day.
Correct.
Okay, you were assigned at Miami International Airport Motor Unit.
Correct.
Okay. It was Tuesday, October 29th, just after 7 p.m.
Yes.
Okay. What happened?
That night, I was on the motor, but I parked it in the motor bay inside the airport, and I switched to the green and white because at night they don't really see you on the bike, and you can get hit out there.
Sometimes they don't see us during the day.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's safer in the car. So I went out to the intersection of Lejeune Road and Northwest 25th Street because that's a T intersection, but that intersection is huge and there's a lot of traffic violations there. In fact, after my incident, a pedestrian was killed there. So police work, sometimes it's not glamorous. Like we'll do something like sandbagging, which is what I was doing that night. I parked on the north end of the property, backed in there so I can watch the intersection in case of violator, so I can, write them up. And I got on the phone because my wife was arriving home. I got on the phone and my cell phone, and I called her, and we were chatting, and I got very engrossed in the conversation with her. And I dropped my guard, and I wasn't looking at what was going on around me. And what happened was on the south side of the property on 25th Street, this individual who was an illegal alien, and he was a murderer, unbeknownst to me at the time, walked westbound on 25th Street until he came up to the property, which is on the corner, and he walked into the southern part of the property, and he walked over to the big giant metal lids that are on the ground that access the valve system to the underground fuel tanks. I didn't see any of this. He lifted up one of the lids, and I learned about this later that he had a bag that he took out a red blanket out of it, and he tried to ignite it on the valve system to cause a massive explosion, killing himself and everybody there. I don't know why he wanted to do that, but he was trying. He was unsuccessful in igniting the rag, so he walked out to the June Road and walked northbound along the sidewalk, stopped before he left the perimeter of the property, came back in, crossed in front of my patrol car. I'm still yakking away. He accesses the newspapers vending machines that are there, and one of them was the New Times, which are free, so he didn't have to have any money. He opened it and took out the whole stack, walked back to the valve system that was exposed, stuffed the papers, and he ignites them. Now, from my vantage point, I couldn't see any of this because of the vehicles and the gas pumps, but what I did see was the black billowing smoke rising, and very angrily was rising. When I saw that, I told her, I gotta go. And I threw the cell phone on the floor, and I immediately moved the green and white to the front of the store. Now, in Florida, I don't know about the rest of the country, but in Florida, all gas stations have emergency shut-off valve buttons. And they're big red buttons, and they're clearly marked. And I knew this station had one right in front, so I drove right up to it, jumped out of my green and white, and punched that button to shut everything down.
You were very aware of your surroundings at
Correct.
that point, knowing that you had to turn off the flow of gas to
Correct.
the pumps because of what might happen. Now, I want to stop you there for a second.
Right.
You're on the phone having the nightly conversation while he's on duty. Hey, how you doing? How's the kids? How are things going at home? When he says, I got to go, and that's it,
Yeah.
and drops the phone, what were you thinking?
I'll be honest with you, that has happened so many times throughout his career, and I didn't think anything of it.
Just another,
I didn't have any, like, oh, something's really wrong. It always happened constantly.
Right.
You get a call, something will go, I got to go. Sometimes I wouldn't hear from him till he got home because he was tied up on his calls. And I understood that. I knew that. I got used to that.
right.
I can't say that I said this was different because it really didn't feel different. It's like, okay, he had to go. I understand. So I just
You've
headed
done
home.
it so many times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got home I wasn't even 10 minutes from home when him and I ended our conversation. So I was very close to home.
So
And
another routine night.
Yeah. until the call came in.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So I hit the button, and as I hit it, I remember turning, and now I have a clear view of what's in front of me. And I actually, in the video that I saw, in the surveillance videos of this gas station, I actually saw my hesitation, because I hesitated because I'm seeing what I'm seeing, but I'm trying to process it and how to handle it. It never occurred to me to get on the radio and say, "Hey, 315, send me some help." That didn't bother. My thing was I have to quickly stop this. Speed is of the essence, because this is gonna be bad, and if I don't act, this is gonna turn terrible. So I need to move. So what I did was I focused on him. He was crouched, putting more papers into the fire, and I could see his hands, and his hands had no weapons. So I chose the taser. I said, I'm going to incapacitate him. This is my plan. I'm going to incapacitate him, put him into custody, throw him in my car, evacuate the area, let fire deal with it. I'm not a fireman. Let them deal with it. So now what happens is, as I'm running towards him, I draw my taser. Now I carried my taser cross draw on my left hip because I'm right-handed. So I reach over and I pull it. I do something under muscle memory that I had done to myself unknowingly. Every night when I went home and I would take my gun belt off, I would secure my weapon, but I also would secure the taser. I would take it out of the holster, remove the cartridge, put it on the top shelf of my closet to separate them, to make it as safe as I possibly could. So now, when I pulled it under high stress, without even thinking, I take the cartridge off. And I didn't realize I did, and I held the cartridge in my left hand.
And for our audience that don't know how a taser functions, the cartridge is what powers
The darts.
the darts, exactly.
It has the
And when-
compressed gas and the wires.
And when you take that off, it doesn't work.
No, it becomes ineffectual. So now as I'm running with this taser, I come up to him. I'm only between 4 and 5 feet. I'm real close. I point it at him and I pull the trigger. And all it did was it sparked. So I realized what I had done. I bring it back and I shut it off, and I quickly reattach the cartridge, and I extend it again. But now when I extended the fire, he's standing, and as he's standing, he blades his body. As he blades, I fire. When I fire, one dart hits, the other one misses. It kind of grazes him because I see him grimace a little bit, but the dart kept going, so now he has no more effect. And he immediately produces a knife. I remember seeing the flash of the knife and the flash of the screwdriver, and I need distance. I need to get distance. I drop the taser. I don't even think about it. It's unconsciously. I need to get to my gun. I know if I can get to my gun, I can stop him. But I need to get distance to be able to pull it, because I'm wearing a Safariland SS3 triple retention. A lot of guys have switched to the newer holsters. I kept the Safariland because I did it automatically to take it out. I didn't have to think about it, and I was really fast with it. So my wife knows that I would wear out these holsters, and I would go spend almost $300 on another holster. I
You bought
constantly,
many of them.
yeah, I bought many of them in my career because I was very good with it, and they were good guns, good holsters. So now I'm backing up to pull my holster, but what happens? I'm trying to back up faster than my feet because I see the threat, and my feet can't keep up with me, and I fall. And when I fall, I remember my training. It immediately kicked in, and I break my fall from all the repetitive falls in the academy. And as soon as I break my fall, I bring my knees up to my chest, because that's another thing they trained us to do. And now something happens to me physiologically. I see him. He's not within of 2 or 3 feet of me. To me, in my vision, he looks like he's 20 feet away from me. I got all the time in the world. Look how far away he is. So I even remember turning my hip to protect my gun, because I'm going to kick this guy as soon as he approaches me, because he's 20 feet away. But honestly, when he was on me, I kick, I miss, and he flanks me on my left, and he pounces on me, and we start to fight for my gun. Now I'm using all my training, which is keeping the gun in the holster and my thumb over the snap so he can't get at it. And I'm with my left hand, I'm pounding on him as hard as I could. I'm pounding on his behind his ear and on his face, trying to get him off me so I can roll. And then he's moving around on me like a spider trying to get my gun, and he bites my thumb. I know he's biting my thumb, but I'm not feeling any pain. I don't feel any pain. I'm not, you're not going to get my gun. I'm going to roll. And as soon as I'm able to roll, I roll. Now something else happens to me physiologically. I'm no longer conscious of what I'm doing. My brain, it was explained to me, kicks into subconscious mode using the medulla, not the frontal lobe, using the medulla, and it goes into survival mode. I'm no longer in control. I'm no longer recording. I'm no longer in control of what I'm doing consciously. Everything I'm doing it's being controlled by my brain, my medulla, and based on my training. In the video that I saw a year later, I crawl forward protecting my gun. He is now stabbing me with the screwdriver. I pick up the knife he had dropped with my left hand. I pick it up as I'm right-handed, and I actually come across on my knees, and I stab him here because he's on my right shoulder. I stab him in his face here, and I stab him in his chest. I give him 2 quick stab wounds. I have no memory of this to this day. I don't remember any of it. I drop the knife, and I roll. And when I roll, this time I kick him square in the chest. I remember this. Now, in my memory, I have 3 images of the incident, but they're not in chronological order. But I do remember kicking him in the chest and him falling back. Now, when he falls back, time slowed down for me. Plus, I had tunnel vision. It slows down for me where I'm thinking, oh my God. It actually goes through my mind. I have all the time in the world. This guy's moving so slow. And I also think of my wife. I think it pops into I remember this. It pops, her, my daughter, my sons, they all pop into me in my brain. And I'm like, it angers me because this guy's trying to kill me. And he's going to get my heart or my liver or my lungs, and I'm going to die, and I'm never going to see my family again. And I got this rage came over me instantly. And it's nothing I've ever felt before. So now I rock the gun in my holster, clear it, but without even thinking about it. And I bring it up from my hip, I'm on my back, and I fire two quick rounds at him. When I fire, they hit him here on this left side, and I see his face, because his momentum is carrying him towards me. I see his face change. Before, his face was like stone, no emotion whatsoever, no, everything was frozen. But the minute I hit him, his face changed. It's like a deflated balloon, and I can see it because everything is happening in slow motion. As he's landing on me, I take my arm out, and he lands on top of my chest. His head is right here. This part of his shoulder is right here, and I bring my hand back with the gun, and I jam it right in the nape of his neck. And I remember angling it, okay, so I don't shoot myself in case the bullet goes through him. And I fired 3 fast ones into him, as fast as I could. I later learned that they went in, they blow out his heart, they mushroom and they blow out his heart. Another one mushrooms and blows out this lung, and then one cuts his liver in half, and then the one that blew out this lung pushes his rib cage out. All of them stayed in his body. I learned that later. But I remember firing, and he was done. And I push him off me. Now when I push him off me, I get back on my knees, and I look at him, because I'm thinking if he moves again, I'm going to pop another one into him. Because I'm not fighting this guy. I'm going to pop him until he's done. Like I watch him. He doesn't move. I holster. I now look at my thumb. I see all the flesh hanging off of it. I put it back as best I can. I fix it, and I push it against my chest to put pressure. Now I check myself. I look for bubbles from a lung hit or dark blood from a liver hit, and I'm looking. I don't see anything. So I can't see too much without my glasses because I lost them in the fight. But I know I don't have my radio. So now I look for my radio, and I see it. I crawl forward. I'm exhausted. I pick up the radio, and I transmit. Motor 81, 315, Northwest 25th Street, 42 Avenue. I've been knifed. I shot the subject.
Give
me a minute.
How seriously hurt did you think you were?
Other
than the thumb.
I didn't think of that. I kept thinking of, because my arm was cut deep. I didn't know about this cut. This thing was.
It was worse than he thought because he was also on a blood
I was on a blood thinner.
Right.
But I'm not
He was
thinking.
bleeding.
I'm not thinking
Yeah.
about that. I'm thinking about. I need to get somebody here to help me secure the scene, okay, and to help me get to the hospital.
Procedure.
Yeah,
Procedure kicked
That's
in.
all I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking about. I already did a quick check, so I know that I'm not. I don't have a hit on me that it's going to kill me instantly. I know I can survive if I can get to the hospital. That's how I'm thinking, right? So now, I get my radio, and when I transmit, I get nothing. There's nothing. So I transmit again, the same thing, nothing. So I'm like, okay, I can't see the window. It's covered in blood, and everything is blurry. So I'm trying to count clicks. I transmit again, and I hear a voice. And I have a recording of this. It's some female. It sounds like an officer on some TAC channel that when she hears me transmit, she goes, QTH, QTH, QTH. She repeats it 3 times. So I repeat it again.
Location.
But I don't get any response. And now I look over to my patrol car and I go, Mario, I'm exhausted. Get your ass up, get in the car, and drive yourself to the hospital, or you're going to die. So I'm getting ready to shore up my energy as much as I can to force myself to get up because I'm going to drive myself to the hospital. from that location all the way to Jackson. So I'm getting ready to do that, and I go, oh, the button. I got to hit the button, because I had trained myself to not touch the button. Because when cops hit that button, and we all know we sound stupid and sheepish on the radio and unprofessional. And I do not want to be an unprofessional police officer, so I made sure I never had that accident. So I had forgotten about it.
The button Mario's referring to is a red emergency button on our radios that, in case you're in the jackpot, as we call it, you hit it, and the whole world knows that an officer needs assistance. But we hit it often so many times by accident. But who's got the emergency? Oh, I'm sorry.
It's an error. You sound ridiculous. So now I hit it. When I hit it, I find out later that when I hit it, my signal actually popped up on the headquarters dispatcher's screen. She sees me, she hears my call, and she screams at the airport dispatcher at the center, hey, Motor Eddie 1's in trouble. Now, that dispatcher that was working that night at the airport had a trainee with her who was doing most of the transmissions. So she takes over, and she's trying to locate me. And she now they know where I'm at because I had told them. So she puts out the 315 button, the signal. And 2 blocks east of me was Officer Juan Leon, who was in Motors, and Officer Chris Garcia, who was not in Motors but later joined Motors. They were having Cuban coffee 2 blocks away. So they immediately jumped in the cars and they got to the gas station. Now I remember at the gas station, I'm there, and they pulled up. But prior to them pulling up, I found this out later because I have a video of it. A Miami-Dade bus drove by westbound on 25th Street to make a right turn on Lejeune northbound, and there was a lady inside that bus. And I don't know who this lady is, but I have her voice recorded. She's the only person that got on the phone and called 911 and said there's a police officer in trouble. He needs help. He's on his knees. So there was a tow truck driver on the scene who was filming the whole thing with his phone. He never called for help, never tried to help me, didn't use his truck to run over the son of a bitch. Sorry, honey. And he just filmed it and then later sold the video to Channel 7 News.
What a guy.
Yeah, he was recording the attempted murder of a police officer, and he profited from it. That guy didn't help me. Unfortunately, the guy inside the store had come out when I was transmitting, and I saw his face, and he had that deer in the headlight look. So I knew he wasn't going to be any help to me. So I yelled at him, stay away, get back, don't touch anything. This is a crime scene. What he did was he walked all the way to the corner where his truck was, about 60 feet away, opened his truck, took out a cigarette, lit it, went to the hole that was on fire, and he smoked, and he's watching the hole, which to me was like surreal to see that. And I'm yelling at him, get out of there.
An employee of the station.
Of the station, yeah. There were 2 employees that were inside. One of them heard the gunshots, and he thought that somebody was banging on the wall in the bathroom, the public bathroom. He had no idea there were gunshots. So I learned that later. But now the dispatcher has sent Juan, and they arrive, and Juan puts out the officer down call. Officer down, officer down. So now I'm yelling at them, both of them. Put out the effing fire. We're going to blow up. Put it out. Get something over there and put it out. I'm concerned about the fire. So I'm not worried about me. So Juan picks me up. He said, Mario, get up. So I get up off my knees, and he walks me actually really quickly over to the passenger side of his car. And I hear, as we went to open it, I couldn't open the door. It was locked. One of us had an open mic because I have the recording where I'm saying, I can't open it. And I'm thinking, I'm going to take my pistol, I'm going to fire the window, I'm going to break the window with a bullet, and then I'm going to open the door, I'm going to get in this car. I need to get to the hospital. I have a problem, I need to solve it. So now I hear a voice behind me. Hey, hey, hey. And I turn over and I look and I see the guy, the tow truck driver, filming it. He goes, I got it on video. So I made a mental note, I'm going to deal with this guy later. I'm going to handle this later. So now I get in the car, Juan gets in, and Juan takes off like a bat out of hell. In the video, you actually see 2 units arriving on Lejeune, and he weaves between them, and he takes off between them, and he heads towards State Road 112 to head eastbound to I-95, then to head south to get to Jackson. While we're going through there, back then, there was still a toll booth on 112 eastbound. He blows through that toll booth. The lady was like, as he flies at 100 miles an hour, he floored this thing. And I remember in the car, I'm thinking, I'm possibly going to die. I may die here. So I need to tell him, even though we're not supposed to, I say, if I die, somebody needs to know what happened. So let me tell Juan what happened in case I am dead. I wasn't afraid to die. I just needed to make sure that they knew what happened.
Right.
So I tell him, Juan, listen, let me tell you what occurred. So I tell him as much as I could remember. And then I tell him, please tell my wife that I love her. So Juan yells at me. He goes, keep awake, and you're going to tell her yourself, right? So he keeps driving. I mean, he was a maniac. So as we getting off on the off-ramp, I started to, I guess, lose consciousness. And I tell him, make a left. Well, you can't make a left. You have to make a right. But he ignored me. So, but I was giving him directions. So now
You're doing your motorman
yeah,
thing.
my motorman. So now he makes the right. He gets me there, and they already have a gurney and some hospital people outside, nurses and stuff, waiting for me
At the Ryder Trauma Center.
Yes, at the Ryder Trauma. So now I get out, and I walk up to the gurney, and I jump up, and me being me, I tell the nurse, "Hey, lady, patch me up. I'm bleeding. You know, just put some patches on me, get me going." So they wheel me in there, man, and I was so angry. I was so.
What did the nurse look like when she saw you?
Her eyes were as big as saucers because I didn't know what I looked like, but I was, according to Juan, I was covered in blood. My whole shirt was, I saw a picture of my shirt. It's like you dumped it in a bucket of blood and pulled it out. There was not a spot on it that wasn't covered in blood. I was bleeding so much. And I had a long sleeve shirt. I had a stab wound next to my leg and my thigh, right next to my artery, 3 inches deep. I was bleeding out through there. I had stab wounds across my chest, my stomach,
Your back.
I want
my
to
back.
now I want to pause there for a second. You were bleeding.
Yes.
Tell us about when you met Juan and what you told him when you arrived at the airport.
When I arrived at the airport 5 years earlier, I had to go through the process of getting the SIDA badge.
Which we all do.
Right.
Yep.
So
SIDA is the special license you need an ID for working at the airport because it's a federal installation. Even cops, we need this to be able to access the
Correct.
the secure
Correct.
areas.
So it's confusing in there. I'm brand new. I don't know where anything is. And I had kind of a general idea. But I see Juan on a Segway patrolling. And I remember him because I was a TA when he was in that class. And I remember who he was. Hey, Juan, can you do me a favor? Can you direct me to where this TSA thing is where I can get this badge? He goes, oh, come on, follow me. So he's on the Segway and I'm following him. And he's leading me. And then we're having conversation and just casual conversation, talking about different things. And I said, hey, let me give you a heads up. I'm on a blood thinner. So if anything ever happens to me, put me in a green and white and take me to the hospital.
And what year was this when you arrived?
It was 5 years earlier.
5 years earlier.
Yeah. So I mentioned that to him. I go, and we kind of jokingly, Juan's a guy on the scene, and he remembered that I was on a blood thinner. And Juan did not hesitate. He knew that I was in trouble because I was bleeding to death. So he gets me there, and then they got me in there, and I was pissed. And they're trying to work on me, and I'm flailing. And in fact, Chris Rutledge went to go pick her up. So I don't know if you want her to tell you that side of the story. But when he brought her to me, she didn't immediately come in to the room yet. The first guy who came into the room was Chris Rutledge, my partner from Motors. And he comes in, and the doctor is fussing with him. I see that because I had other people working on me, but I see the fussing. And I go, Chris, what's going on? He goes, oh, this guy's trying to kick me out. And that made me even angrier. I jumped off the gurney. I grabbed the doctor, and I push him into the wall, and Chris pulls me off of him and puts me back on because I was going to kick his ass because he's trying to get my friend out of there, and I'm not having it. So he puts me back on the gurney. He says, what are you doing? And the doctor, Mr. Mario, please calm down. And I'm like, no, you're not kicking out my friend.
You're still in fight mode.
Bro, I was not
For
off
24
that.
hours.
For 24 hours. I fought him. When they wheeled me into the operating room, I remember they had me out there. The guy looks at my hand. This hand comes over me like this with a gas mask to give me anesthetic, to knock me out. When he puts it on, he pinches my nostrils and I can't breathe. So with my left hand, I grabbed his wrist and I pulled him. And now I'm fighting him, and the guy's screaming for help. I hear him screaming, and I'm like, I'm fighting. And then they grabbed me and they hit me with something and they knocked me out. And that's all I remember. But I was fighting. I wasn't having it, bro. Whoever was in front, I was going to get it because I was going to fight. So they finally got me in there, patched me up, and wheeled me down, and they took me up to the room, and then the world came. Everybody came.
So you didn't need surgical intervention.
Just
They were
being
the
sewn
past-
up, yeah.
Right. In the trauma bay.
Yeah.
At Ryder Trauma. Okay.
Because I had all those wounds.
Right. Okay. Well, that's good. They didn't have to take you to the OR.
Right.
So now we're going to switch to you. He threw the phone. I got to go, and
Yeah.
you thought it was another routine night, right? He's got something he's got to deal with, which of course always happens. How did you get notified?
So we hang up. I'm 10 minutes from home. I reach home, and when I get out of my car, there's a call coming in on a number I don't recognize. But I have a bunch of things, my lunchbox from work. I drop my phone. It was a BlackBerry, and it opens up. So I'm like, I'm not going to worry about it. I'll check it later. Put my phone back together, go inside. I walk my dog. I'm back in the house. As I'm walking in the house phone's ringing. When I look at the caller ID, it says Chris Rutledge. We know him as Road Dog. He's Mr. Road Dog, I'm Mrs. Road Dog, he's Road Dog 1. So I see him calling, and I'm thinking, why is he calling when he's on duty? But okay, I answer and say, hey, Road Dog, how are you? And I hear sirens in the background. And I'm like, something's off. And he's a very funny guy. He's always joking, and he's very silly. And all I hear is, Mrs. Road Dog, I'm on my way to pick you up. He's very serious. And I'm like, Chris, where's Mario? He goes, he's at Jackson Trauma.
So what he told you when you first got married is now coming true.
Yeah. And he said, I'll be there as soon as I can. I said, I'll wait for you outside in the street. So I'm like, what do I do? My training kicked in, like his kicked in that night. I'm like, I go with them. They will get me to him, and I will see him. I grab my purse, I grab my jacket, I lock the car, and I head out to the street. I hear the sirens because he flew there. And I'm thinking, what could have happened to Mario? I'm thinking it was his heart because he had a stent in his artery, one of his arteries. He had heart issues. He didn't take care of himself. I was always fussing at him about that. I said, maybe it was, what could have happened? It's been 10 minutes. I didn't realize then that call was Jackson calling me. I didn't recognize the number, and I wasn't able to answer it. And honestly, I'm grateful. I'd rather receive that call from someone I know and trust.
Right.
That's like a brother to us than a stranger telling me your husband's here in Jackson Trauma. So I asked Chris, what happened? Is Mario okay? He goes, I don't know. I said, Chris, is he alive? He goes, I don't know, Mrs. Road Dog, but I'll be there as soon as I can.
Wow.
I said, good enough. So as I'm waiting out there, I call one of my sisters. I said, you guys need to be praying. Something happened to Mario. I don't know what it is. They're on the way to pick me up. So she started the prayer chain and calling everybody. I didn't want to let my daughter know yet because I didn't know what was going on.
How old was she at the time?
Oh, she was married. She's married
Okay.
out of the house. She was, at that point, in her 30s.
Yeah, and her husband is a
He
Miami
was
Dade
on
police-
duty, a
he's
Miami
on duty.
Dade
He was
officer on duty.
He
So
works in a coastal.
I figured he's going to hear it, but I don't want to call her until I know. Let me get there and find out. So he picks me up, and he says, I still don't know anything. I'm going to leave the sirens off. Once we hit the street, we're going there as fast as we can. I said, Chris, he goes, I don't know anything, Mrs. Road Dog. I said, you're not lying to me? He goes, no. I said, okay. Police radio's going crazy. His cell phone's ringing. I hear him say, I got the wife. I'm on the way. Tell Marty just to head to the hospital. We'll be there soon. So he's driving I don't know how fast he's driving. It couldn't have been fast enough. But I remember this on I-95. The sirens are going. There's a car in the left lane that just makes a complete stop.
Which happens a lot, you know.
Instead of moving, and he's told me these stories all the time.
Instead of just moving over
Yeah,
to the side, they
stop.
panic and stop.
Yeah.
He just stopped, and he had to maneuver around traffic, and he's like, I'm sorry, he was a little crazy, but we get there, and we pull up, and there must have been 20, maybe 25 officers outside. So I look at them, and it looked like it was a funeral. Heads were down.
What were you thinking then?
Nobody was talking. I was like, oh my God, what am I walking into? What happened to him? I'm like, God, give me strength. Give me strength. And let me walk in there and see what's going on. But they weren't talking to each other, and they all looked like someone had died. So I walk through, and they get me to him, pull back the curtain, and Mario's there, and he sees me, and he's yelling at me, I love you, honey, I love you. I told him to get you here soon. I said, I'm here. I'm looking at him, I'm listening, but I'm watching. There's a pool of blood on the floor, about this big.
Still in the trauma bay.
He's still in the trauma room. There's stuff all over the floor because they were rapidly working on him because he was bleeding out. I saw blood. I saw his monitors. His blood pressure's kind of low. And he's telling me, he goes, he tried to kill me. He tried to kill me. I told you I would fight hard. But he hurt me, and he was angry. I said, it's okay. We're going to get through this okay. So I'm looking to see there's blood everywhere because he had wounds all over. And we're talking. I said, it's all right. We're going to be fine. And I just let him talk. But then I'm watching his monitor, and all of a sudden his blood pressure starts doing this.
What did I tell you when that? Honey, I think I'm going to pass out.
Yeah, he says, I feel like I have cotton in my ears.
I'm gonna pass
and it's
out.
like a clock counting down. I told him I'll be right back. Now I'm in scrubs because I came from work. So they think I work there.
And you know what that means up there.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a nurse, but I know when I see that and it was rapidly dropping. So I go out there and get I said, you need to get the doctor in here right now. His blood pressure's crashing. So she goes in and goes, oh my God. So they called the trauma doctor in, who was amazing. He was bleeding out because they didn't wrap his bandage tight enough.
This thing was deep and
Yeah.
open.
Plus,
See the scar?
Yeah.
yeah, he had a huge scar that went down to the bone, and Mario's waving his hands around, which didn't help. I remember Marty
No, I
telling
can't be calm.
Marty's like,
Well,
stop
you're
talking
Cuban.
with
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, I
He
can't.
couldn't help it.
And I'm like, I told her, I'm not done with the guy. And she goes, honey,
I didn't know yet
yeah,
that he
yeah.
was
I
gone.
I'm not finished.
At this point, I don't know. I still don't know what happened, and I don't really care. I just want to make sure he's okay. And
Did you know he was dead at this point?
I know I shot him. He wasn't moving, so I figured he was, but nobody told me.
Nobody told you.
Yeah. So my mind was, okay, he's not moving, he's not getting up, so he's dead in my mind.
But you still want to go back for him.
Oh yeah, because I wasn't
Yeah.
finished. I wasn't finished yet.
And I didn't know. I had no idea what he encountered and what he faced. I know that he was very
And I didn't tell her. I didn't tell her.
and angry. So the doctor comes in, and she's like, "We're gonna have to get him into surgery. We got to cauterize that wound. His thumb was a flap
Yeah, it
off.
was just a flap.
The orthopedic surgeon says we got to clean that up."
I
There's
asked him. I said, am I going to lose the thumb? He goes, no, I'm going to save this, pal. He told me that. I'll save it. Don't worry.
Yeah.
That's confidence, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Yeah, he says there's nothing worse than a human bite, so we got to get there and clean it up. And they were giving him blood because he had lost so much blood. But she said, we got to get him in right away. I said, okay. So they wheel him off. And then,
Tell him what you asked Marty.
yeah, so then I go to his sergeant, Marty. First of all, Mario's yelling at me about his boots. Where are my motor
Yeah,
boots?
because they want to cut my boots off. They cut everything else off. I go, we didn't have any boots in the quartermaster. The motors had an issue. They didn't want to spend any money, so there was no boots. So I knew if they cut my boots, I wasn't going to have boots. I go, don't cut my boots. And I was fighting with them. Do not cut my boots.
So
That's
he-
how I was thinking.
Well,
you know?
well, the motorman, the pen,
Yeah.
and the
I'm
boot,
telling
you know, yeah.
Don't cut my
so
boots.
he's yelling at me, you don't let anybody get my boots, like the gun belt story.
Yeah.
Right.
But in the meantime, crime scene shows up.
And they're taking everything.
So they're taking pictures. They're cutting his clothes off of him. And I'm like sitting there going,
They even did that thing for my hand for the gunshot residue.
Yeah.
They did that to me too.
GSR.
Yeah.
Yep.
With all my blood, they still did it.
so I'm not exposed to this. I'm a wife. I'm not an officer. I've never seen
never
this
seen
before.
anything like this.
And this is my honey laying here. And it's like, this is a crime scene. They're taking his clothes. They're cutting it off of him. They're putting it in bags. It was so surreal.
They're taking pictures and all kinds of stuff.
Which
So-
is all SOP.
And I knew that.
Yeah.
That
But
didn't-
she didn't.
No, she didn't.
No.
These are the things that you don't talk about.
Right. I mean, to me, it's automatic. It's mechanics because we know the procedures and
Right.
I understand them, but we don't talk about them.
But our wives and spouses don't know that.
Right.
Yeah. So he had lost an incredible amount of blood. They had given him a couple pints already, and
So
they
you
take
went to
him off
Marty,
to
yeah.
surgery. Yeah. And while he goes off to surgery, we get him off there. I went and asked Marty, what happened? Did he shoot somebody? He goes, yes. I said, did he kill them? He goes, yes. So Mo goes in, okay, what is this going to mean for him?
Right.
Is he going to make it through this injury? Is he going to recover emotionally?
In the aftermath of all the activists that show up out of the woodwork.
Is
that
he
we
gonna
brought
go?
about.
Is it gonna go viral? Are we gonna have to deal with that? Because that's always in the back of your mind. You know it's there. It could happen. You see other families go through it,
Yeah.
and you don't know. Are you gonna have to walk through that as well? If he makes it, God willing, is he gonna be able to go back to do what he loves more than anything? You know, he's got injuries. He's emotionally traumatized. So all those things are going through my mind. He makes it out of surgery. They did fine. We were at Jackson for several days. And the other thing was there was an incredible amount of exchange of blood. So now we have a concern with AIDS.
Yep.
And you have a certain amount of hours to be able to make a decision to have that test done within that window. in case they have to administer those medication, those cocktails.
I know that because I got bitten by a subject with AIDS in Northside in 1998, and I had to go through the whole protocol and on the meds for a month. That sidelined me so badly, so yeah, I understand exactly what you're talking about because
Yeah.
it's rough. It
Yeah.
really is.
And we had a limited amount of time to make that decision. And because Jackson saved his life in trauma, but after that, there was a lot of things that went not so well
Right.
that we had to work with. And they delayed in getting the test up there. So now it's
And we
like,
were like,
do you still want to do it? Marty's like, you know what? I'm not going to do the test. Because the doctor said the cocktails will make you sicker than anything. So we decided not to.
They let me make some decisions like that one, and the other one
Yeah.
was my arm where I was cut. The guy goes, "We can sew it up or leave it open. If we leave it open, it'll heal from the inside out, or
Right.
you'll have an ugly." I said, "Leave it open." I made that decision. Leave it open, let it heal. I can live with a scar. I have a big deal with that. So we made that decision, and it was the right decision.
Yeah.
I didn't get an infection. I didn't get
Yeah.
anything. But she also took care of me. She cleaned it every day, all the
Yeah.
time, make sure it was bandaged.
So the surgical intervention was for the thumb,
The thumb and this
And the arm.
and then they
And
sewed up all
he
the
had
wounds.
staples
right? But they didn't
on.
have to go in
No.
invasively.
No.
So you got kind of lucky there.
No,
Yeah.
he had some staples at a wound back here. He had
Right.
staples here.
This one I was lucky with
across.
this one because they didn't get the artery. It was a little bit more and it would have gotten the
Because
artery.
he had 11
Right.
stab wounds that they had to tend to.
Right.
So he looked like Frankenstein, with all these little staples, but he survived.
One of the things that when I was in the hospital was right after this I get a phone call, right, and it's one of my friends that worked with me in motors, and he goes, "Hey, do you know so and so?" I go, "Yeah, of course." He was a motorman too. I go, "Of course I know him." He goes, "Well, his wife works crime scene." I said, "Okay." He says, "She's saying that you stabbed this guy." I had no memory of this, right? I go, "What?" This is when I first hear about it. He goes, "Yeah, you put a couple of stab wounds into the guy with his own knife." And I was like, "Clunk." My jaw hit the ground. I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Because for me, my memory is everything. And now I have no memory of something that I did. I'm like, wait a minute. So I hang up, and my sergeant was there. And I go, "Sarge, I was just told this." And he goes, now he had worked IA. And he goes, "Hang on a second. I'm going to make a couple of phone calls." So he steps out, comes back a little bit later, and he goes, "Yeah, it's verified. Yeah, you stabbed the guy." And I'm like, "What?" I couldn't believe it. Now this is in my head, spinning around, and I'm trying to remember, and it's gnawing at me. And then I find out there's a video from this. Actually, 7 cameras recorded everything. I'm like, I'm not allowed to see it. I didn't see it for a year, and it haunted me.
Yeah.
It haunted me because I had this gap in my memory, and they can fill it, and I can't see it. Because even though it was justified on the scene by a state attorney, because I was told this, when he came and looked at the video, it was totally justified. And he walked away.
The shooting team with the assistant state attorney.
Yeah. And he said it was totally justified, walked away. But because of politics, the mayor wouldn't allow me to be cleared because he was afraid, of rioting and all that nonsense.
Talking about Carlos Jimenez.
Yeah. So they held off on clearing me. So here I am flapping in the wind, and psychologically I was going to see Scott Allen, and he knew what I did, but again, they couldn't show me anything.
Scott Allen, our chief psychologist for
Right.
the department.
I didn't get to see that video till after Kathy Rondo signed the clearance letter.
The state attorney.
Yeah, and I got to see the video. Actually, they invited me over to the homicide office, to the major's office up there, and I was told I can play it as many times as I want and play it at different angles. And me being me, I sat there with Danny Akins, the homicide detective on my case, and I dissected every single bit of that video from different angles, going back and forth, slow-mo, watching it, and dissecting everything that I did so I could understand where I made my mistakes so I wouldn't make them again.
Right.
Learning. And that's my way of thinking. If I can learn, I can be better.
That day when you were reviewing the video with Danny, how long after the incident was that day?
A year.
A year.
So now, and also my gun. When they had my gun, they had shot my gun, got everything they needed, but they wouldn't give me back my gun. And I'm like, why can't you give me back my gun? You already did with your test. Give it back to me. It's my gun. I own it. They wouldn't give it to me.
Yeah.
Made me angry. They kept it until the day before I went back to work. I went over to headquarters, picked it up. I told them, don't open the bag. Give me the freaking gun. I'm going to clean it. I took it home. I took it apart. I mean, everything. I even slid the sights off of it. so I can clean all the blood off it because it was full of blood and body matter. And I cleaned everything. I cleaned my. They wanted to give me another badge. No, give me my badge. That's my badge. And I cleaned my badge, all the blood off of it. I cleaned my wing and wheels that were on my collar. I cleaned that off. I cleaned my boots. I cleaned all my own blood. I cleaned it off because I'm reusing my stuff. It's my stuff.
Right.
Nobody's taking that from me. So I did all that. You know, they didn't understand when they gave me. I told this to your son. When they gave me my loaner gun, it was taken away from me at that moment.
It took control away from you.
Yeah, they took it from me on a floor that they had 39 prisoners up there. So they take my gun, and I'm like, bro, I'm vulnerable. I can't defend myself. I can't defend my wife. So I went to another officer who I trusted, and I said, do you have a spare gun that I can have? He goes, yeah. And he gives me a little backup that he had. I'll give this back to you later. So now I didn't tell anybody I had it, except I told her. I go, I got a gun. I can protect us. So now we're leaving, and my thumb is all bandaged, and I stick the gun in my pants of my sweatpants that I was wearing. And I told her, let me tell you something. I don't know what's out there. I don't know if this guy is a gang member. I don't know if he has friends out there. But when we go out there, I need you, if something happens, to quickly get on the ground, flat on the ground, and I need you to make sure, I need to know that you're going to be fine, and I'm going to engage, and I'm going to kill everybody that comes at me.
Giving you more training then.
Yeah. Because I'm going to engage all of them, because I know that I'm going to hit every one of them, and I'm going to survive. Because I can't trust anybody else to defend me. Okay? So now she's like, her eyes are like this, because she knows I'm dead serious. Because there might be a problem out there, and I'm gonna take care of it. So now when they roll me out there, and I'm walking around because I'm all full of energy and hyper. My sergeant said, "Hey, sit in the wheelchair because you don't want to go out there and cameras see you, and they look like you're fine, you know." Because I was able to still, you know, I had the stamina.
Right.
So now I'm in the wheelchair. They roll me out. I get up, and in the video that I saw, I have my hand with the thumb inside my pocket holding the gun, and my head is on a swivel, looking around, looking for threats. He had moved the media across the street from the trauma, moved them across the street. So now I'm the last guy to get in. I made sure she got in, they got in, and I'm the last guy to get in the car because I am the cover. I'm covering everybody, and now I get in. And then I get in, he drives me up to the press, and I lower the window, and they ask me, hey, what's going on? I say, I'm a little sore. Thank you for your concern. I appreciate it. I'm heading home. I'm a little tired. Thank you. And I raised the window, and then they took me home. That was my little soundbite I gave them, which is what they wanted.
Right.
But he never knew that I had a gun because he had taken my other gun away. So I didn't trust anybody, bro.
Yeah.
I did not trust anybody.
Well, to the department's credit, they had an officer at his door 24/7.
24/7.
Yeah.
Because we didn't know who he had
Yeah.
shot
Right.
and killed and what.
We're going to get into that,
Yeah.
the subject,
Yeah.
when we come back. We'll be back right after this hard break. Stay with us. Welcome back, everybody. We're talking about the war story of all war stories, as I titled it for my book, Mario's story, the incident as he refers to it, back in 2013. So now you're leaving the hospital. You said goodbye to the media. Where did you head after that?
When they got me home, I told Laura, I said, honey, take me out of here. Get me out of the city. One of our getaway places is Naples. So she had already had a hotel room for us because we were going to celebrate.
Naples, the west coast of Florida, not Italy. So
Right.
you're clear on that, right?
Right. So we were going to celebrate something. I forgot what it was.
It was my birthday and
Your
our
birthday-
anniversary.
Right,
Because
okay.
they're always in early November, so that
early
was our
November.
thing.
So she had that all arranged, and so I said, get me out of here. So we quickly packed a bag. We jumped in her car. On the way there, we had to stop at the gas station on 199th Street and Northwest 2 at the BP there. And I'm all banged up, and she has to go pump gas. And I've told her before, gas stations and convenience stores are a magnet for these type of people, the rickets, what I call rickets, and they always have a propensity for violence. So you need to be aware when you go there. So now she's out there, and I see this ricket coming towards her, and I get on my knees on the passenger seat, and I take out the gun, and I take a beat on him through the glass of the thing, and I'm watching because I go, if he says anything, I'm going to pop him right here. And she's freaking out because she's like, oh my God, you know. And I'm like watching him, and she quickly jumps back in the car, and then I get back in the seat, put the gun away. But that's how I was mentally.
Yeah.
And I saw a threat, and I'm like, I'm taking this guy out. The minute he gets near my wife, he's done. So
They say just because you're paranoid doesn't mean no one's out to get you. Right? And coming through what you just went through, everybody's a threat.
yeah.
Especially in a gas
station.
station.
Gas station,
Every time we stopped to get gas
Right.
for a while, it was like they were hyper vigilant.
Yeah.
It all brought the memories back. He lived it. So it was definitely on
And you lived
high
it.
alert.
So she got me to Naples, and once we got to Naples, it was like a weight taken off me. I relaxed. We had dinner. I was my old self, you know.
What is the saying we like to use about the West Coast of Florida?
About people, Cubans like to go over there and hang out, right?
Everybody that lives in South
yeah.
Florida, vacations on the West
yeah,
Coast.
on the West
Florida,
Coast. Yeah,
right?
that's what we do. But she, you know, we had dinner. She was good because she had the doctor's cell phone number, and she would take pictures of my injuries and how and send it to him, and then, oh yeah, that's perfect, you know. So constant contact. She was caring for me. I was able to relax. I was able to get a good night's sleep finally because nobody knew me there. Nobody knew what happened.
Were you able, at least in a small measure, able to let down your guard?
To a point, yes, because nobody knew me there, and being a more calm area, that there wasn't, I didn't perceive the threats that I did in Dade County. So I'm like, okay, I can relax here. I know she's safe. That's the way I thought of it. She's safe. Nothing's going to happen to her. I can drop my guard. So I relaxed, and you know, and it helped. It helped a lot. Bring it down.
Tell us about the kids. What did they think when you told them what happened?
It was a hard phone call to make. You know, I called my son-in-law first because I knew he was on duty, and he had heard some over the radio already. And he told me that they were sending him over to Ryder, so he was going to be there. I called my daughter. I waited till she got home from college because she took time off from work when they had their baby, and she was getting her master's degree. So she was still at school when this happened. I said, there's no way I'm calling her before she gets home. So I
Right.
waited till she reached home and called her and told her. But I was able to let her know he's okay. He's out of surgery. This is what happened. He's going to be okay. She was home with a baby. And, you know, my son-in-law came and stayed with us. So it was just nice to have family there, that he was able to be there with us. So it was very hard. He got on the phone and told the boys, you know, and shared it with them. But at that point, once they found out, they knew kind of what he went through, but they knew that he was okay. They didn't have to go through that portion of it. Well, what's happening? Is he alive? Is he going to make it? Is he not going to make it? So I'm very grateful that they didn't have to deal with that. By the time they got the news, Baba's going to be all right.
Yeah.
He's going to make it through
That's
this.
the part you signed up for.
Yeah.
They didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all of them were amazing. Thank God for our family support. You know, I always hear about the thin blue line and how close all of you are. And I never experienced it
Until
myself till then. In the hospital, from the minute I got there, they were not just there for Mario, they were there for me and my family. Anything we need, what can I get you? You know, do we
Yeah.
need to go home and get you clothes? You know, what do you want to drink? What do you want to eat? What does he need? They went out and bought him a T-shirt so he wouldn't have to wear. It was kind of
Hospital
funny
gown, yeah.
because Mikey went out and got him a T-shirt so he wouldn't have to wear his hospital gown. So what does he do? He brings him a shirt that says Nike, just do it.
And you did.
Yeah,
I
I
don't know
did
if
it.
you want to
Yeah.
wear that after
I
doing
did
what
it.
you just did.
You did everything the guys at the training bureau had
Trained
trained
me to
you
do.
to do.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Yeah.
And even Danny Akins, the detective, told her that video says they should use it at the training bureau for training because he did everything textbook. Everything that we did, he did
Yeah.
in textbook.
100%. But you know what? It's never been shown at the training bureau.
No, and then
They don't.
bring me in. They never bring me in to talk to the classes. Only when I go to qualify every year, and I offer, hey, I'm here. If you have a class, I'm willing to talk. Oh yeah, come on in and talk to the class.
Yeah.
And then I'll talk to them. But they never invite me to go speak to any other classes. So they miss out on that because when I was in the academy, Rick Wetland came and talked to me, to my class, and it had a profound effect on me, which helped me during my
The
incident.
namesake of our Survival City Training Center.
Yeah, and a lot of them, when I asked them, these kids, I go, "Do you guys know who Rick Wetland is?" They give me this dumb look. I go, "Do you know? You don't see his name on the sign next to Survival City?"
The
I go,
stone. The
Yeah,
big stone out there with his
exactly.
name on
I go,
it.
"Do you know what he did?" So then I tell him what he
Right.
did, and they're like, I go, "You don't understand. This guy may not have looked like a superhero, but he was a superhero, okay?"
He just did it.
Yeah, yeah. With shot in the mouth, dude, and he
Yeah.
fought and he survived it. And they killed him. Jackson killed him. You know, I yelled at them when they were gonna give me blood. I yelled at them. I said, "Do not give me any of that Rick Wetland blood that you did, because you guys killed him." So they're looking at me like I'm crazy. And Fuste,
have no idea what you're talking
yeah,
about.
And Fuste
Yeah.
is laughing. Fuste is laughing. He goes, "Hey, Mario, it's okay. They test it now."
Yeah.
You know, but I was like, "You give me none of that crap because you guys killed that guy."
Yeah.
You know.
So the kids did well. It was hard on my daughter because her husband's a police officer as well, so she had to walk through it not just with her dad, but then she has a husband that she sends out every day as well.
Yeah.
So, you know, it was very emotional for everyone, but they did amazing. They really did.
So now I want to cross for a minute into the political because of this subject.
Yes.
And I think it's important for people to know this. Tell us the background of the dirtbag, as you call him.
Yeah, the dirtbag. I was homicide. A detective explained to me who he was. He had entered this country illegally. He was a Haitian black male who entered the country through California. He had used his passport to get work on freighters around the world, and they suspect that he killed somebody in Europe. So he ends up in California. He gets into California illegally, and while he's there, two homosexual males walk in front of him, and then I guess he gets angry, takes out a knife and stabs one of them to death and kills him.
He actually had 2 knives that time.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
he killed this guy and he stabbed him to death.
Yes.
So they arrest him, they charge him, they convict him, but because he's insane, they put him in this institution that they release him 6 months later on the street.
He kills somebody, he's insane, and in 6 months, they deem it appropriate just to
Release him.
release him.
Yes.
So now they suspect him to kill. He had killed somebody in Alaska too. He's good for that one. They think he did it, but he comes across the country. As he's doing that, he's being arrested and causing havoc, and constantly being charged. The cops arrest him, but they keep letting him go, and they don't deport him. So now he ends up in Florida, and apparently he commits a crime somewhere in middle part of Florida. Gets off of that, ends up in Bayside. In Bayside, he sticks a guy in the neck with a knife. That victim survives, but does not go to court, so he walks again.
They dropped the charges.
Yeah. So now he ends up at the airport, and he had a couple of incidents at the airport. First one was at the subway inside the terminal. He was harassing people. One of the guys sees him, immediately grabs him, takes him to the ground, handcuffs him, arrests him. He didn't hesitate with this guy. The second guy that confronted him outside the airport. He had started a small bonfire, and the officer from a distance told him to put it out and to move on. And the guy did it. He didn't attack the officer. And then the third time was with me. And I don't know why he wanted to blow up the gas station. We'll never know.
Well, he's mentally ill.
Yeah, he's mentally
so,
ill.
yeah, we could never know that.
And Dr. Allen explained to me the only reason he was bound and determined to kill me was because I was stopping him from doing what he wanted to do. I was in his way, and I wasn't moving.
So this, if you pay attention to the news over the last quite a few years, this is another illegal alien criminal story
Correct.
that has plagued the United States, where we've had the young ladies killed,
Yes.
right? And you were a hair's way of being one of those stories
Correct.
by an illegal alien.
Correct.
And it just seems like we keep, history keeps repeating itself. Fortunately, now we're doing something about it. And in case you didn't know, yeah, I'm a Republican. But that close,
Yeah.
you came to being another footnote in history.
And my
of-
wife,
of this
my wife a
tragedy.
widow. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And the kids losing
Yeah.
their father.
Yeah.
So maybe eventually we'll get to the point where, number one, you can't come in, you're illegal, you have to apply just like
Everybody else.
everybody else did. My parents,
Yep.
the way you guys did
Exactly.
it, and the way people are coming in legally. To avoid any situation like this, but it seems like on the news we keep seeing the same thing over and over and over again. This truck driver that did the U-turn that was here illegally, that California gave him a commercial driver's license, right? And he comes here and does that in Florida and kills 3 people.
Right.
So that's how far we're going to delve into the politics today, but it needed to be said because this is that typical story, and unfortunately, you were called into the jackpot that day.
I remember being told at the airport not to help ICE or Border Patrol or anybody
Right.
with anything like that. But I had a couple of the Border Patrol's officers' personal cell phone numbers in my phone, so whenever I did run into that, I would call them and say, hey, this is what I got. Are you interested? And they would come and get them.
Yeah.
And we always did that on the down low. You know, we were cops. We help each other out.
Quick war story. When I was assigned to Police Operations Bureau, I was on the midnight shift, so we had the Rickenbacker Causeway, beautiful Key Biscayne and all that. We would get refugees let off in the water, 100 and 200 feet offshore, right? The traffickers would dump them and make them walk in or swim in, and then we'd get them on the beach. And this I always found odd. This is while we still had wet foot, dry foot. So I as the supervisor on duty that night, then I would call Border Patrol up in Broward. Say, this is Sergeant Gonzalez. I've got some refugees that just came in on Crandon Beach. Are they Cuban? Yes. Have family pick them up and have them report voluntarily to immigration on the next business day. This happened several times. Okay. Another set of refugees come in. Sergeant Gonzalez, got refugees that just came in. Are they Cuban? No, they're Haitian. We're on our way. What?
Yeah.
Right? And the same thing with Dominicans. So the Cubans, because of wet foot, dry foot, right?
Right.
They had a free pass. Now, treat everybody the same across the board. And I always had a problem with this, the way they did it. And then, of course, it morphed into, that was way before your incident.
Right.
And then it just got progressively worse.
It worse, yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right, so fortunately now you're recovering. And sometime later, some really decent things came about. So as most of us that are conscientious about the job, you do your job, you got maybe a not lazy supervisor that writes you up for a departmental award or something. And you've got quite a list, but we're going to start with the one that's not related to your incident, the life-saving award. Tell us about that.
That happened early in my career. I must have been like 6, maybe 7 years into my career. It happened in Northeast, Intracoastal District, on Ives Dairy Road in I-95. The call went in, there was a man trying to jump off the overpass onto I-95. So I have a rookie with me, and she's like first phase. So when I arrive, I see a state trooper, a female state trooper. I see the guy, he's hanging off the south side of the overpass with his hands on the bars, holding the bar, but he's facing southbound, hanging with his, with just holding onto the bars with his feet, holding onto the edge of the cement on the outside of the railing. So all he has to do is let go, and he's going to hit the I-95. Somebody's going to run him over, or he's going to land on a car. So I see it's a very stressful situation. This guy is seconds from jumping, and she's maybe 10 feet from him, trying to talk to him, but I can tell he's Latin because he has Latin features. He's dark skinned, so I go, I don't think he understands her. And he looked very confused. So now I run up. My rookie's totally oblivious and doesn't have no clue, and I know the rookie's useless. I need to handle this. So I run up and I start speaking Spanish to the guy. And he looks at me, and I said to him, why are you doing this? Why? And as I'm talking to him, I'm edging closer. Why are you doing it? What do you want? He goes, I want to die. I want to die. In Spanish, he's telling me, I have throat cancer and I don't want to live. So as I get closer and closer, I see him turn his head away from me to look over to the other side. As soon as he did that, I rushed him. And when I rushed him, he turns back and he lets go. And I go through the bars and I grab his wrist with one hand, and he pulls me through the bars, and I'm holding onto the bar with my left hand, and now he's hanging, and I'm holding him, and I'm halfway hanging off through the bars, and I don't have the strength to pull him up, but I'm holding him. I have a tight grip on his wrist, and he's moving, trying to loosen the grip, and I see the cars going out under, boom, 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 under the bridge, and they don't see us because we're on the south side, and they're going southbound. So now I'm looking over and I'm looking around, and I see my lieutenant, who's no longer with us, Lieutenant McGilvery, running up. My rookie's useless. And I look over to my left, and I see another officer, Bob Melly. Bob looked like a surfer. Blonde hair, young, He was a former Coast Guard guy. Bob was a funny guy, was always getting himself in trouble not because he was bad, but because Bob was kind of goofy, So was the kind of guy that, if like this burglar jumped into the intercoastal to get away, Bob took his uniform off, jumped in the water. He knew how to swim really good. Grabbed the guy, brought him back, arrested him, then put his uniform. And McGilvery wrote him up for removing his uniform on duty. But he was
not a big picture guy. At this
right.
point,
But he was a great cop. He was a good guy, funny. So now I see Bob, and I'm screaming, Bob, give me a hand over here. So now Bob runs up, and Bob goes through the bars and grabs onto the guy's belt, and I'm still holding the arm. Now McGilvery grabs Bob by the waist, so all three of us are going to heave. And at that moment, I look up and I look at McGilvery and I go, "Hey, Lieutenant, now's your chance to drop Bob. Get rid of him." In the middle of that, right? It's just the humor in it. So now we pull him up and we get him through the bars, and I'm able to get him into custody, and I Baker Act him and save his life. So now I've noticed that I don't get any commendation. I don't get anything. I just saved the man's life, and I'm not getting an attaboy, right? So I asked my sergeant, and he's blowing me off. So I'm like,
He didn't want to write it.
yeah, I go, that's unusual. So now I go to McGilvery. McGilvery liked me because, he liked cops that worked. So I go, Lieutenant, let me ask you something. And one-on-one, just clear it up for me. He goes, go ahead. So I asked him, am I not entitled to something like this? He goes, you absolutely are. What, you haven't been written up? I go, no. He goes, I'll take care of it. So he made the sergeant write me up, and I got that departmental life-saving award. And this sergeant was livid. He did not want to give it to me. He was, and I realized what it was. It was jealousy.
Uh-huh.
It was jealousy. He was jealous of what I have. In fact, I also got another award under his supervision from the CAC in Intercoastal because I took down an armed subject that had threatened a guy in a trailer park. And when I saw the victim running towards me, I saw the guy with the gun. And when he saw me, he ran. And I went after him. I had a rookie, and I told the rookie, stay with the victim. And I went after the guy. And in that dark trailer park, I flanked him and cut him off. And I was able to take him at gunpoint and get him. So my sergeant was pissed at me because I went in after the guy by myself. And then the CSC recognized what I did and wanted to give me the award, and he was adamant about me not getting it, and he was trying to block it.
Yeah.
So I knew it was jealousy because I was doing stuff that he could never do.
That's what we were talking about off camera, is lazy supervisors. Okay, just because I got promoted doesn't mean I stopped working. Doesn't mean I'm not a cop anymore. So you go out there and still do your job. And a good sergeant is out there as much as he or she can be with their officers, getting involved in the same
You lead
shit.
from the front.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. Yeah. Another one of those stories. But congrats on the life-saving award. You saved his life, and then,
And finally got the recognition after several months.
Well, you work hard, you do your stuff, you put yourself in harm's way because you easily could have gone over the
Yes, I
the
could have
ledge.
slipped through the
Yeah,
bars.
exactly.
With him,
So, the incident, if you can say it's a silver lining in all that both of you went through, you got some pretty impressive awards
Yeah.
coming that came your way, and I have two here that we can talk about them, and please show us. The Presidential Medal of Valor and the Congressional Badge of Bravery.
Yeah.
How did that?
I was invited to the White House. When the ceremony there was actually 13 officers that year that earned this award, and I was the first one that they honored at the White House in that yellow room, and they read the incident, a synopsis of it of what I did, and then standing next to President Obama, he pinned this medal on me. I had no idea this medal existed. I didn't know anything about it. I had to learn that it was given to either police or fire who went above and beyond of an act of valor, you know. So and based on what I did, I guess I earned it, and so he pinned it on me, and this is the medal that I received.
Yeah, please show it to
there.
our audience.
Right there.
That is impressive.
That's the one he pinned on me at the White House. And then later, for the same incident, Congress also, they gave me the Congressional Badge of Bravery. And this is the one that Congress gave me, right there.
Wow.
So pretty high honors from, you know,
And actually, I could. You just said it. I could speak for probably most of us. We have no idea that these things exist.
I had no idea. And then when I got the first one, the medal, her and I met Obama prior. You know, he came and chatted. He was very personable. And then, you know, the ceremony was done. And then after the ceremony, as we're walking outside, he's standing there and he shakes our hand. So I'm the first guy. So when he shakes my hand, he passes this presidential challenge coin to me. And I collect challenge coins. So he gives these out to the military. So for me to get this is very rare. You know, he just doesn't hand them out to cops. So I got it. And it's like in the center of my collection because this was handed to me by the President of the United States. So I was like ecstatic when I got it. I'm like, wow, the president gave me this, you know, and I collect them. So I ran up to my wife. I had the other medal. I didn't care about that. I cared about, look what I got, you know.
Well, Laura told me off camera, you know, that we're very grateful that you're donating it to the Sergeant Maverick Museum, and it'll be proudly displayed.
Yeah, man. But that was a pretty cool thing, pretty high honor.
The incident.
Yeah.
Which is the absolute worst thing you've ever gone through in your life.
Yeah.
So you have the Presidential Medal of Valor, the Congressional Badge of Bravery,
Yeah.
the Florida Medal of Heroism,
That was given to me by Rick Scott, yeah, for the same thing, yeah. They recognized
our
that.
own MDPD Gold Medal of Valor, I would hope so, the Purple Heart Award,
For
of
my
course,
injuries, yeah.
the Officer of the Year Award 2015, Distinguished Officer of the Month 2014, the MDCCP Officer of the Year 2015.
That's from the Chiefs of Police. They recognized what I
Miami-Dade
did.
County Chiefs of
Yeah,
Police
yeah,
Association.
They recognized
Right.
what I did, yeah.
And their Medal of Valor, the Florida Attorney General Officer of the Year of
Pam Bondi.
2014.
She gave me that one, yeah.
Florida Attorney General Distinguished Service Award 2014, National Association of Police, NAPO, Top Cop
That was
Award.
Top Cop, yeah.
Yep,
Got that one in Washington, also at the White House.
you deserved it. Sorry you had to go through it to get it, but you deserved it. National Association of Police, NAPO, People's Choice Award.
Yep.
Were you on the People's Choice Awards?
But that one was pretty cool because D'Onofrio, the actor, was the MC, and she got to meet him and stand next to him. So it's pretty neat.
Yeah, he's a good actor.
Yeah.
Florida Sheriff's Association 2014 Officer of the Year.
Yeah, that was given to me, yeah.
So Miami International Airport Directors Award. Didn't even know we had
Yeah,
that.
me neither.
Right? I was at the airport at the end of my career. Didn't even know that existed.
That was it.
Right?
That was given to me also, yeah.
Miami International Airport Distinguished Service Award plaque.
Yeah, got that.
Miami-Dade County Commissioners. Everybody's getting in on it. The
Yeah.
proclamation.
Yeah,
Mario
they
Gutierrez
made
Day.
July and a Tuesday in July. I think it's July 3rd or what. So take the day off. I tell the guys on that day, it's my day. Take it off. You know, pay.
Nobody go to work.
Yeah, take off. I'll pay you.
PBA Officer of the Year Award, our own union,
Yeah.
Police Benevolent
They recognize
Association, and then also PBA Officer of the Month.
Yep.
The LEO, Law Enforcement Officers Foundation Uniform Services Award. We had no idea all these things existed, right?
I got that. Yeah, it's a
And
neat
this-
little trophy too.
And the South Florida Shalmrim Society 2015 Man of the Year.
That was recognized by the Jewish community. Yeah, and I'm not Jewish, but they recognize what I did.
But you're part
an
of the
honor,
community.
yeah.
You know, so
they
a
love
high
law,
honor,
They
yeah.
love law enforcement.
It's a high honor. Yeah.
well, on behalf of all of us, of course, we didn't want you to go through it, and you wouldn't have gotten any of these things, but then you wouldn't have suffered, all of you, what you did. But
Bert, I got to tell you, I'm glad I was there because I know that I can handle it. You know, maybe another officer might not have been able and probably would have died. But me being there, I felt better that it was me. That I know I can handle it. I can deal with it.
we always feel that way. My son, BJ, that you've all seen Act 1, Scene 1, Take 1. He's a sergeant in his own right on Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office now. And I know, I've seen him, I've gotten a lot of feedback from his colleagues and supervisors who were friends of mine, that he can handle himself. But I would rather, to this day, 5 years into
I get it.
retirement,
I
put
get-
myself
I
in
get
his
it.
spot so he doesn't have
Yeah.
to.
I get it. Yep.
Yeah,
Trust me, I get it.
yeah. So, no, fantastic. You know, like I said, a silver lining and everything that you went through. So, you're a hero in my book.
Thank you.
And Laura, you are as well.
Just
Thank
a
you.
regular guy, man.
Well, we're regular guys until the moment calls upon us, right?
You
And,
know,
and that's the way it is.
people have told me before, it was a terrible day, a lot went wrong. I say it was a great day. A lot went right.
A lot went right. Yeah,
Good guy. Good versus evil, and good won.
yeah.
A lot of lives were saved. They told him, the airport had told him, if that gas station had blown up, it could have set off a secondary explosion to the gas station right next to it.
Sure.
The Chevron, yeah.
Yeah,
The fuel farms for the airport are right across the street.
yeah.
Because it's close to the airport, the planes fly very low. Who knows if we had a plane nearby and that explosion could have affected
Sure,
it.
because it's near one of the runways.
Yeah, and they said, the airport director said to me, we would have shut down the airport because we would have had to assume it could possibly be terrorist related
Sure.
because nobody would have survived it had Mario not intervened. That gas station would have blown up. He would have died. Everybody there would have died.
It would have been a crater.
So a lot of good things happened.
And the first thing we would have been thinking was terrorism.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she said it. They would have
Yeah.
shut the airport down tremendously.
And the next thing is, where's Mario? I can't find him.
Yeah.
And I tell you-
Conspicuous by his absence now.
With every experience we had that we've been blessed to go to, that he's been honored. And he didn't do it for the honors, but what those things have done is we have been in the company of other heroes. We have met so many people across the United States,
Yeah,
like everyday officers like you, your son, and Mario, that do it every day and don't expect anything in return and have done just heroic, incredible things. And we had the opportunity to meet them and their families.
yeah.
We've been able to attach a lot of positive things to a very negative situation. So I believe that that has helped him cope with it and come through it as well as he has. The PTSD is still there,
It's still there.
Sure.
It doesn't
not
go
like
away.
it was in the beginning.
It's not as intense, but it's still
But
there.
when we think about, we don't so much talk about the incident, all the blessings that came with it.
Yeah.
The people that he did save, the lives that he did save, the experiences that we've had because of it have been amazing. And the support that he received, because he got an incredible amount of support from the media, from the department, from the community.
I got a stack
Yeah.
this big of cards from an elementary school
Yeah.
class. I read every single one of them, and I still have them. Those are the things that are important to me.
It was a great day.
Yeah.
It was a great day. A lot went right.
Well, thank you, both of you.
It's our pleasure.
We're going to start wrapping things up here, but we're going to go into a segment that I call Never Forgotten. And we're talking about heroes. Mario is a hero, and he prevailed. He won. He did what he had to do. He just did it. But unfortunately, in our profession and fire, it doesn't always turn out that way. So in this segment that I call Never Forgotten, we'd like to go over and honor those that have fallen since our last podcast back in July. So as of July 24th, we're going to go over a list of officers and firefighters that have fallen so we can pay honor to them. We'll start with July 24th. Officer Philip Wagner, 35 years old, 7 years on the Lorain Police Department in Ohio. Officer Wagner and his partner were sitting in their cruiser eating lunch when a subject opened fire and ambushed them. Sound like Lou and Ramos from New York
Yeah.
back in 2014?
Exactly.
When they called for help, another officer was ambushed. Both were life-flighted to the hospital. Wagner's partner was wounded in the hand and later released. Wagner succumbed to multiple gunshots the following day. The subject was killed in a shootout with responding officers. Wagner was also a Marine Corps veteran, and he leaves behind a wife and 3 children.
This happened July 26, 9 years ago. Deputy Elijah Ming, 34, Wyandotte County Sheriff's Office, Kansas. Deputy Ming and an officer from Kansas City PD responded to a domestic to stand by while the woman moved out after being threatened with a gun. When they arrived, the subject opened fire. Responding officers exchanged gunfire, wounding the subject, who barricaded himself in the home. He gave up after 90 minutes standoff. Deputy Ming succumbed to his wounds. He left behind a wife and son.
On July 28th, Detective Didarul Islam, 36 years old, 3.5 years with the New York Police Department in New York. Detective Islam was shot and killed by an active shooter while working off duty at 345 Park Avenue. The subject was the asshole bad guy that we heard about walking in New York City with a rifle. He went on to kill 4 others in the building, then killing himself. Islam left behind a pregnant wife and 2 children. Islam was promoted to detective first grade.
Yeah, this is the one that was on the news with all the fanfare.
Yeah, I remember.
Rightly
Yes.
so, but August 6th, Lieutenant Albert Stout Jr., 57 years old, 31 years on the job, Robstown, Texas Police Department. In February of 25, Lieutenant Stout was overseeing the Animal Control Office and contracted a disease from the shelter. He became ill and succumbed due to complications. All this time, he was getting sicker and sicker and sicker. He leaves behind a wife, 3 children, and 8 grandchildren.
Okay, Officer David Rose, 33, 11 months on with the Cobb County PD, Georgia. Officer Rose was responding to an active shooter near the Center for Disease Control in Atlanta. When units arrived, the shooter opened up on police, and Rose was struck and later died at Emory University Hospital. The asshole bad guy was later found to have shot himself. Officer Rose served as a U.S. Marine and leaves behind an expectant wife, 2 children, mother, and brother.
August 9th, Sergeant Kenneth Salas, 59 years old, 34-year veteran of the Spokane County Sheriff's Department. Sergeant Salas was clearing a vehicle that dropped a hay bale on Interstate 90. While doing so, a motorcyclist did not see Sergeant Salas and struck him. He died at the hospital. Sergeant Salas leaves behind a wife who was planning to retire the following month.
Well, there were traffic involved, but most of them you see there were gunfire. August 10th, Sergeant Caleb Eisworth, 44 years old, 23 years on the job, Baton Rouge PD, Louisiana. On June 16th, he was traveling to a funeral procession on his department motor when he was intentionally rammed by a truck at high speed and dragged him for several hundred feet. Sergeant Eisworth later succumbed to his injuries. The subject was charged with various crimes, including first-degree murder. Sergeant Eisworth leaves behind a wife, a daughter, mother, father, and brother.
August 12th, Sergeant Ryan Hudson, age 32, 10.6 years at the Paducah PD. Sergeant Hudson responded to a shooting involving multiple victims and was aiding in the aftermath. He began to feel ill and continued working and sought treatment 2 days later. Sergeant Hudson suffered a fatal heart attack. Sergeant Hudson leaves behind a wife, 2 daughters, and a father.
Hang on a second.
Yes, please.
Anybody, we were talking about it off camera about heart disease being the #1 killer in the United States, right? So if you're feeling ill, please go to the hospital right away, go to your doctor. Don't let it linger because you have something going on inside. When you're feeling that bad, go take care of it right away.
Excellent. August 13th, Trooper First Class Dennis Ricks, in his 20s. He had been on the department 1 year and 11 months at the South Carolina Highway Patrol, North Charleston area. On August 10th at 0200 hours, Trooper Ricks was on a traffic stop, and while walking back to his vehicle was struck by a box truck. He was transported with severe injuries and later succumbed to those injuries. The truck driver had a suspended license. Trooper Ricks leaves behind a wife.
Another guy that never should have been on the road, right? Yeah. August 15th, Officer Suzanne O. She was in her 20s, 5 years on the job on Maui County PD, Hawaii. Officer O and fellow officers were responding to a call of trespassing and shots fired at a sugar mill. The subject opened fire on the officers with a rifle, striking Officer O in the chest. Officers returned fire, striking but not killing the subject. Officer O received the Certificate of Merit in 2023.
Okay, this happened August 17th. You have Sergeant Lee Sorensen, age 56, with 17 years on, and Officer Eric Estrada, age 31, with 8 years, of the Tremonton Garland PD in Utah. Sergeant Sorensen and Officer Estrada were responding to a domestic dispute. One of them was speaking with to the resident when the subject exited the house and opened fire and mortally wounding one of the two. As the second officer arrived, the subject opened up on him and killed him as well. An Elder County sheriff's deputy and police dog were also shot but survived. The subject was talked into surrendering by bystanders. He is charged with aggravated murder. Sergeant Sorensen leaves behind a wife and children. Officer Estrada leaves behind a wife and 2 children.
So on July 30th, K9 Oya Dutch Shepherd, 1.4 years on the department in North County Police Cooperative, Missouri. K9 Oya was attempting to apprehend 2 subjects that bailed out of a stolen vehicle after a chase and a crash and was shot. The bad guys were not apprehended.
We gotta honor our canine companions because they do the job just like the rest of us. August 8th, Canine Karma, a Belgian Malinois, 2 years old. I'm sorry, 2 years on the job in Santee County Sheriff's Office in Minnesota. Karma and his handler were executing a search warrant on a drug residence. The 2 subjects fled and Karma was deployed. He began experiencing signs of distress and was taken to their vet. He deteriorated quickly and died of heat stroke. So, in total for the year, it's 59 fallen police officers. And in case you've never heard this statistic, it's 27,023 all time. And I want you to think about that for a second. If you know anything about stadiums, the stadium in New York for the U.S. Open, Arthur Ashe Stadium, holds roughly 20,000 people. It would not hold the number of officers killed in our country since we started recording these statistics. So, all heroes. And let's move on to the firefighters. Fortunately, we haven't had as many of them go down on the line of duty. But since July 24th, July 22nd, when this came up, firefighter, paramedic, Hyris Hodge, 26 years old, St. Lucie County Fire, Port St. Lucie here in Florida. While on duty, firefighter Hodge became ill and was sent home. The next day, he felt worse and called 911. He was transported and later died at the hospital. Unknown cause of death at this time, exactly what we were talking about.
This happened July 26. Captain Nick Van Dam, 37, Bordeaux Volunteer Fire Department, South Dakota. While responding the War Creek fire in Jones County, the 2,000-gallon tender truck that Van Dam was in left the roadway and rolled, ejecting Van Dam. He was pronounced at the scene.
On July 27th, firefighter Raymond Ray Moreau, 60 years old, Plainville Fire Department in Plainville, Connecticut. Firefighter Moreau was working a residential fire when a piece from a nearby fire apparatus broke free and struck him in the leg, causing a catastrophic injury. He died during surgery.
51 fallen firefighters year to date. Heroes all, regardless of the cause of death, they're on the job and protecting the rest of us. So I want to thank them and their families for their service. So, yes, it's a bit of a somber segment to the podcast, but we have to honor those that have fallen. I think it's very important that we do. We never forget them. So now we're going to close out with something a little livelier, okay? To get into both of your heads who Mario and Laura are as people, not just the cop stuff and all that. So these are questions, first thing that comes to your mind, okay? Ladies first. What is your favorite word?
Love.
Outstanding.
Love is outstanding or just outstanding?
There's outstanding love.
What is your least favorite word?
Hate.
Mario?
Same, hate.
What turns you on spiritually or emotionally?
The presence of God. When you feel it.
My faith in the Lord.
Yeah.
What turns you off?
Evil.
Evil.
You met evil.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What is your favorite curse word? It's okay to say it. It's a podcast. It's not network television.
I don't know that I have a favorite. It just kind of comes out. I don't know. I get, oh shit.
Okay.
That would be one that pops out.
Bastards.
What sound or noise do you love?
That I love. I love the sounds of nature.
Okay, Mario?
Well, where I live, there's hawks, and that bay that hawks. I love that sound.
Okay.
I hear them.
What sound or noise do you hate?
What would I say? I don't like loud noises. I'm a quiet person, so I tend to like quiet. So anything that's loud, I
Okay.
find annoying. Yeah.
Loud music. It's annoying.
Where would you like to live if it's other than where you live now?
I don't know that there's any place else I'd rather live right
Okay.
now. Yeah.
I'd like to live in the mountains of Tennessee.
There's a lot of us on the job and fire that end up in Tennessee, right? Or North Carolina or
Yeah.
somewhere there. Yeah.
We've been to Tennessee. It's beautiful. We love the mountains there.
Who is your favorite fictional hero?
I'm a fan of Superman.
So am I.
Yeah.
Captain America.
Very good. Not a bad one, but Superman's number one.
Yeah.
BJ would say Green Lantern. What person or persons do you admire most?
People who have honor, that have
Kind of
respect.
like
Definitely. I admire him greatly for the man that he is, how he lives his life, how he loves his family. He has integrity and honor.
Super.
Besides my wife, I like President Ronald Reagan, how he conducted himself, how he treated the office,
Right.
and how he loved this country.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one. He was the first election after I turned 18, and he was the first president I voted for. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt or have attempted?
Let me think about that. I love ministry. So if I could go into full-time ministry, helping people, I think that's something that I would really enjoy.
No reason why you can't do that going forward.
Yeah,
Soon,
and when I
right?
retire soon,
Yeah.
have
Mario?
time to do more.
I've done it. I did it for a while. I was a firearms instructor. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed teaching and teaching people how to shoot and how to handle their weapons safely. It's a passion for me.
What profession would you not have attempted?
That I did. Those are good, thought-provoking questions. There aren't any that I have attempted that I wouldn't have done. I wouldn't rewrite that
Okay.
in that sense, so no regrets
Or any
there.
profession you would not have done at all.
Anything that would cause me to compromise, my values or my morals, I would
Okay.
not want to do them.
So definitely not
Like,
politics.
I couldn't be a lawyer that would defend guilty people. I couldn't do it.
And you would have to.
Uh-huh.
For me, out of all the jobs I've ever done since I was 14, the one I hated the most was laying sod out there, just laying sod. That to me was like, no, it was like boring.
That's hard labor.
Yeah.
If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Well done, my good and faithful servant.
Say, welcome, come on in.
Yeah, we've been waiting for you.
Any final thoughts, Laura?
Just thank you so much for this opportunity to be able to share, our experience. And if it helps anyone, it just blesses us even more. But it's been an honor and a joy to
Well,
be here.
the honor's all mine.
Thank you for
coming,
allowing
Mario.
us to do this.
For me, the honor to be here, thank you for inviting me. But for me, I'm hoping that any police officer that's out there active duty, or even retired, but if they hear my story, that they can get something out of it. And if they're confronted with something like I was, that they can survive it and overcome it and put evil to where it belongs, in the ground, and stay alive. That's all I care about. That's why I talk to academy classes.
Yeah.
To share it so they can survive.
To quote one of my favorite movies where I got my nickname from, right? Maverick, Top Gun. In the first movie where Tom Skerritt's character says, in combat, there are no points for second place. And it's absolutely true. And there was no points. You had to win.
I had to win.
I want to thank you both for telling your story for us. And I thought it was very important that we do a family segment and get the wife's perspective or the spouse's perspective, because though he suffered it physically, you went through it emotionally. And nobody really understands that until you go through it. So thank you both for being here. I really appreciate
Thank
it.
you for
It's
inviting
been our
us.
pleasure.
We're going to wrap this up. First, I want to ask you to support a couple of the foundations that my wife and I do. And as a matter of fact, Laura and Mario do as well.
Yes, we do.
Tunnel to Towers Foundation. I'm sure you've seen the commercials. They do great work for the first responder families. They pay off mortgages. They do homes for disabled veterans to make it easier to get around the house. And they're taking vets off the street, and they're doing it, every day beautifully, one after the other, until they get all the veterans off the street. So it's one of the charities that we support. And St. Jude's Children's Hospital, they do as well. We have personal stories for that, but I'm telling you, everything you see on TV about St. Jude's is absolutely true. I have friends of mine that went through it, and they're a great foundation to take care of our sick children with cancer. So please, it doesn't cost a lot of money, $19 for St. Jude's and $11 a month for Tunnel to Towers. I am not endorsed by them. I'm not getting paid to tell you this. I'm just asking you to look into it and think about it. I'm part of the Miami-Dade Regional Peer Support Team, where we provide services to officers and their families that are struggling. Sometimes it just takes a phone call to help them get through, or a visit. This is so we don't suffer the tragedies that you hear every day about officers killing themselves because of what they went through on the job. So support that. If you are an officer or a family and your agency in South Florida is not affiliated with us, you can call us anyway. 754-315-PEER. That's 754-315-7337. If you need help, reach out. You're going to get it. And the National Suicide Prevention Hotline, 800-273-8255. You can call, text, or chat. It's completely confidential, but if you need help, please reach out. We don't want another tragedy on our hands from one of our fallen police, fire, or military, or anybody for that matter. So please reach out if you need help. So with that, if you want to contact us, you have suggestions for the show, comments, you'd like to be a guest on the show, please go to my website, sergeantmaverick.com. That's sgtmaverick.com. And there you can email the show. You'll find the link to get in touch. And you can see the previous podcast episodes. Of course, you can see them on Spotify and YouTube. Please click like and subscribe. That would help us out tremendously. And with that, as my favorite television sergeant said, Sergeant Phil Esterhaus, let's be careful out there. Take care. See you next time.